And Monday, Lock and Load is live once again. And so it's a Memorial Day where I guess everybody is thinking about the fallen soldiers and one way or another. So uh, let's hear that
Not just
Lock
the
and Load.
fallen soldiers, those that have served and do serve as well.
And so I don't know if anybody has any Memorial Day stories. I went out to the gun store because their website said they would be open, the local gun store, and because I was going to look at all the Mad Max type of Glocks and Glock 17 and 19 and stuff. We had a good off-air chat, I think, after the Mad Max about because they rocked the Glock in that one, and there were couple of armorers, I think, in a late night off-air chat, and we talked for like about an hour. One sec.
Oh, okay. Well, for me, for Memorial Day, I always think of my family that has served. Um, this is part of the thing. My father was in the military as well, so he was buried on Veterans Day. So both days have a special meaning for me. Um, but as I kind of do as a tradition is I watch one of his favorite shows, which is Band of Brothers. Watch that, and then I make some of his favorite food. So I get a double thing for my father as a remembrance.
Right on. Right on. Friggin', yeah, I kind of spent the day alone because I was listening to Liberty Radio Live yesterday before I went and hung out with my family. And the guy that was on there, the guest that was on there, was made a very valid point that people aren't paying attention to Memorial Day anymore. They're going around thinking the vets, and that's cool and all, but hey, we have our own day. We have Veterans Day. This is to memorialize the people who have given everything so we can be free. And it's like I can understand the barbecues and drinking beer and having fun with your pals because that's what I tell my friends to do if I ever die, throw a big party. But
And hey, that's what they'd be all be doing too if they were still with us. So
exactly. And as for the day off of work, I think it's a good thing too because who's alive now that just because I'm dead doesn't mean I wouldn't want my boys to have an extra day off to have a good time together. So I can see all that. It's just the commercialization, and they talked about this in the earlier podcast with Matt. But I myself, I didn't get to chime in on it, and it really would be redundant if I did because evidently I feel the same way as many of the other people do. So it's just I'd rather just kind of like remember things on my own rather than go out and deal with other people who are just running around oblivious to what's going on. I mean, if they knew what was going on, they understood what was going on, they knew what the difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day, and they were still doing what they were doing, hey, more power to you. But they're just blindly running around going, oh, I got a day off, yay, and I don't know. I just can't handle it anymore. It's one of those days where I just shut the doors and pretty much don't want anybody, unless I know they know the difference around me.
I look at both days, Veterans Day and Memorial Day, as a way to honor everybody who served, everybody that gave their life, in service to our country. I think it's Veterans Day does focus more around the surviving vets. Memorial Day is more around those who gave the ultimate sacrifice. But it's to honor all those who have served, who are serving, and those who gave their life for our country.
Yeah. I was thinking of my grandfather, fighting in World War II from Lublin or from Osh, Kyrgyzstan to Lublin, with the Polish unit under the Red Army command. But and my uncle, my crazy uncle, who I don't get along with too well, that did a couple tours at Nam. But so I just mostly watch war movies all day. I don't know, that's pretty much what I do. Uh, and
Yeah, as I said, for me, it's Band of Brothers. My
well, I was
father absolutely loved that that miniseries.
Oh, Band of Brothers is an excellent miniseries. And if I had it, I, I'd watch Tour of Duty as well. Or I was in it, but for World War II movies, I tend to go with more of the more the movies that were made during the genre itself, during the actual or just after the actual war. Movies
Yeah,
are they're great too.
yeah,
So
there are tons of great. I'll call them the vintage movies, not the more modern stuff. Um,
Well, I watched The Dirty Dozen today.
oh, awesome movie.
It's 1967, and
Yeah,
I didn't know that. Who do you just do a quick pop quiz if anybody out there knows who won the Best Supporting Actor in that film, the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor?
it wasn't. It wasn't Charles Bronson, was it?
Nope. Charles Bronson played Joseph Waterslaw,
Yeah.
but he didn't win the Best Supporting Actor. No.
Was it Franco? The guy who played Franco?
Yeah, that's it. John
Really?
Cassavetes. Yeah,
that's his name.
Victor Franco. Yeah, he went on to. He didn't do much more acting. He preferred directing. He directed some stuff after that. But yeah, that Victor Franco. If you just look at the character, it was it was the mafia guy, with the who played the killer who I guess killed somebody for $10 and he was gonna hang for it, you know, and it was just he had a pretty interesting role throughout that movie. He was the instigator, kind of bringing the Dirty Dozen into making them you know, uh, a team. Like we ain't gonna do this and we ain't gonna do that. What are they gonna do? Hang us? He
Yeah.
was pretty good in that one, but he went on to be more of a director after that. But that was a
And he actually
19.
played that part awesome. You could picture him being that kind of guy. Or when Lee Marvin walks away from you, what are you crazy? You think I want to die? If you do, you don't know Victor Franco.
Yeah,
And even that little evil chuckle.
yeah, he it was good though. All the little things he did, to be a uh, come off as a crazy killer. Uh, he looked like a crazy murderer in that one, but I think it took a lot of work.
Yeah, he definitely did not look like a guy I would like to have as my neighbor.
And uh, so I guess I spelled Yankee Marshall, but the person who reminded me of most of the Yankee Marshall, and like if you could picture Yankee Marshall in The Dirty Dozen.
Did you say he'd be the Victor Franco guy?
No, he'd be more like AJ Maggot, Telly Savalas' character.
Oh well, I think that's a bit extreme. I don't think anybody can be. In fact, actually, I'm surprised Telly Savalas didn't get the best supporting actor because he too played that religious zealot, psychotic killer role perfectly. I mean, you totally believed that he wanted to
Well,
kill.
all he needs if he was going to be Yankee, he'd just have to wear that like he do some videos where he's wearing like a bra and panties or something. I mean, he'd be perfect. Because it's instead of like issues with women, it's Yankee has issues with he has daddy issues. So, um, if you've ever heard him talk about his dad, so
Oh Well, no, I actually never have. So
Yep, he doesn't talk to him. They stopped him at an airport just so he could talk to his dad, and he, like talked to him for 5 seconds or something, and didn't want to talk to him. So whatever issues he has, that's what it is. So um, anyway, so I had a few Yankee issues uh, the other day, so I came up with some screen shares here for you guys on Yankee's brain for fun. Let's see if I could find them. Here's the first one. I know Brian has seen most of these, so but here's the first one. Now, Yankees brain. So the green part is the part about guns, right? What did I say?
the yellow part was him about blowing truck drivers to go get more guns.
Right, yeah. And the red part is what was the red part?
Starting World War III.
Right, how to start World War III. Right. So that's now I noticed there's a blue part on the bottom, so that's because he likes Obama, I think, or something. He thinks he knows what Obama is doing in his foreign policy. So he's a blue state kind of a guy for gun control. That's kind of strange, but anyway, let's see what else we got for my Yankee show and tell. Uh, all right. Here's a picture. Here's one picture of Yankee's brain. As you can see,
Is it a
a
bunch of
brain.
people spooning and stuff?
Yeah, having sex.
Yeah.
It looks like my brain.
What's that?
I think he said it looks like his brain.
All right. Well, anyway. And the next one is, let's see, people are running from Yankee Marshall's brain. They don't want to get caught up in the whatever.
I just picture some like horrible '80s creature running behind him when I see that. It's just freaking hilarious.
And I think our final one is yes, Yankee Marshall's brain must be destroyed. So anyway, we had some fun with that the other day. Hope you guys get a kick out of it.
Oh wow.
But anyway, yeah. So I don't know why it's like I feel like somehow what I like here's my like take on gun channels. I like gun channels because there's a lot of I know what I know about guns, but there's a lot of stuff I don't know, and it's like when I saw the Glock 17 in Mad Max, and there was somebody I could talk to. There's like two Glock armors I could talk to for an hour about Glocks. And I got a lot of stuff that I didn't know. And and if there's some particular kind of gun that I don't know, and actually it seems to me like you guys could talk for about an hour on or two on just uh, Flickr or Instagram gun photos and stuff that I know nothing about, you know. But whenever I bring up a topic that I do know about, then it's like I'm accused of being either not dumb enough or a know-it-all or something, just because I happen to know about one issue. So, you know, and that's when I get shit from Yankee or a few other guys. But, you know, whatever. I follow my Debco website, and I know about the Middle East a little bit, and I'm the grandson of Holocaust survivor, so that's the kind of stuff that I follow, and I might know a few things about that in World War II. But other than that, I don't think I'm a know-it-all. but I do know about, the guns that I have. So anyway, but that pretty much, I think, covers Yankee's brain. So it,
uh,
it, it's just that when there, it's like when he runs out of ideas and cogent thoughts, he just starts throwing out, ad hominem insults and attacks. And if he's gonna attack something that I say, with an argument, I got no problem, or why I'm wrong. But if you're just gonna say, and I can cuss at him and just as many words as he can cuss at me. So, I know all the bad words too. So,
I notice he does it to G-Webs too. So
yeah, well, you know, and what really got me a little bit crazy about him was that I mean, I actually said, that the last one you did was kind of like Charlie Chaplin and kind of classy, and he's like, nope, that I don't want to do another one like that because I got like, X% less views, and people said they didn't like it, and it's like, I like to do the videos and stuff that I like to do just because I like to do them, and I really don't care if anybody watches or not. I mean, I just, if I do a video, it's because I want to do it, and I don't base what I do based on viewers or anything. So, and I don't have opinions based on whether people agree with me or anything. So,
actually, I thought when he did that, we all knew it was because he didn't put batteries in the mic, and we kind of threw the idea at him, and
yeah, I thought it was good. I thought it was
yeah,
good
it was.
because the best things happen because of mistakes. But he doesn't want to do anymore because his viewership didn't like it, or for percentage it went down. It's like, if you listen to Journey, that you want the next song that you do to sound like every other Journey song or something. That's how fans are, I guess.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
sure. I'm sure that's part of it. I don't think that's all of it. I would just. I heard part of that argument, but yesterday. Was it yesterday? I just let it go, man.
Yeah, but it's fun to fuck with Yankee. I mean, the only time it's really interesting to listen to Yankee is when he's arguing with somebody. Because I listened to, he did a chat with like G-Webs and one other big channel, and he talked for the first 20 minutes, and it was boring as hell. He's only good to listen to if he's really arguing with somebody, and he gets flustered. It's the only time he's fun to listen to, almost. So.
True. I mean, but there's usually like one-liners by various people, yourself included, that are usually interjected that are fairly entertaining to me.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's all about entertainment, so I don't care. It's fun.
That's he makes some valid points, but I don't know. I think have you confronted Yankee on this and told him how you felt about it, kind of thing? Like,
If
hey,
you confront
like
Yankee on anything,
get him on a side chat and just talk to him.
no, I'm not going to do that neither.
Because I think honestly, a lot of the times he's not doing it to. Oh well, he might be doing it because he likes to argue for the sake of arguing or whatever. But he also might be thinking by doing that he's livening up the chat and bringing more viewers into it.
Yeah,
Because naturally, as humans, we do like drama. No matter how much, even if you live a drama-free life, you see it around you, and it doesn't affect you, you still kind of watch it. So, it could be a little bit of that too.
Well, we're getting into Yankee's brain now, back again.
That's what I thought that we were still on the subject of Yankees.
Oh, okay. I get my screen share for that back up then.
well, everybody thinks they're right, so.
That's very true. That's another human thing is when we think we're right, we're going to say we're right. And even if you tend to prove people wrong, they will rebut with slurring remarks and, comments about your etiquette and things like that rather than using logic and, facts because, you're attacking not just the answer to the situation, but you're attacking your belief system generally. That's what I've noticed.
Yeah, well, whatever. So I don't think Yankee Marshall's brain can be fixed, though. I mean, it just is the way it is, and it's basically, I mean, have you seen his channel? It's like, I don't know, is he like just you
His videos,
transvestite gun channel guy, with daddy issues and a couple of kids, and I don't can't comprehend, or
with Yankee, you have to take him with a grain of salt. You have to figure that he is going to say stuff to cause arguments because that's what he likes to do.
Okay. Well, if he's an internet rabble rouser, that's okay, I guess. But
Well,
anyway,
it's also nice. You got to have somebody to throw in an alternate point of view.
yeah, but
Otherwise
as
the
long as the
discussion's all one-sided. And,
yeah, as long as the alternate point of view is actually an argument and not just "fuck you,"
Well, sometimes "fuck you" is the best argument.
Well,
I've actually used that argument in the past myself. Yeah, when I've been lacking for the proper terminology or way to express how I feel, a good "fuck you" is sometimes the best argument.
yeah, like when I went by the gun store today, and they had their website said they were going to be open for Memorial Day, and I wanted to check out the Mad Max Glocks because I talked to the armorers about it on Gun Channels for an hour or whatever, and they were closed. Damn it! I was like, "Fuck you, man!" I drove all the way, like 2 blocks, to the gun shop.
At least you didn't walk the 2 blocks.
Yeah, I did a
Then
lot
you
of
would be even
walking,
more.
and I did squats the other day. My legs are, and I walked uphill for like a mile and 4 in the morning, and so my legs were kind of dead. So it was definitely
That's why you were awake when I talked to you.
no, but they're definitely dead today. So I wasn't gonna walk anywhere.
Yeah, tomorrow I'm gonna have a leg day at the gym.
I'm gonna do bench presses tomorrow, but
Tomorrow I'm doing the same thing I did today, which is exactly nothing because my doctor won't let me.
then I'm gonna go to a gun store and demand a discount because the store wasn't open like he said it would be.
They lied. Going there with that whole ghetto argument. False advertising. You put it out there.
Hey, all you had to do is be open for a minute, and he was open.
Yeah, well, his website's like, we are open for Memorial Day. I went down there. They weren't open. Shit.
Yeah, but did it say what hours?
Yeah, it could have been open for 10 minutes.
From 8 to 8:05. You're going to be open.
Well,
8 to 8:05 Central Time, and we're in Hawaii. Brian, are you out on the islands too?
so
What was that?
How come you
Where
have
are
so
you at,
many damn
Brian?
magazines? I couldn't believe that. You have a magazine issue.
No, well, no. It's because I want to have at least 2 guns in each caliber. So, where's my Instagram feed?
I just want to understand your
You want
logic.
2 guns in every caliber?
Well, in every caliber that I own. So, I mean, the only one I don't have 2 guns in the caliber is 7.5 Swiss because it's not going to be a oh shit, I need to grab my straight action bolt gun for a defensive situation.
Hey, it makes an excellent sniper rifle.
It does. It does. But I have 2 308s. I have Remington 700 and an HK, or that C38. I have 2 ARs. I have 2 AK-74s. I have 2 AK-47s, SKS, and then a patent pistol.
I'm such a.
Well, you got the 7.62 by 39 well covered. Get rid of some of those.
I don't.
know they're Swiss.
Why get rid of mags whenever if I wanted another Swiss, I just go out and get another Swiss. Only like $300.
Yeah, so how many mags do you have for each caliber?
I have 33 HK, which are 308, but one of them is a 5-round mag. I have 36 AR mags, and one's a 20-round mag. I have 40 AK-47 mags, which 2 of them are 42-rounders, and 3 of them are 45-rounders. And I have 62 AK-47s, and one of them is a 20-rounder, and then I also have 2 drums.
Okay, I'll take one of your AK-47s and 10 mags.
Wait a
take them
minute.
off their hands.
Magazines, what percentage of those are steel and what percentage of those are polymer? I mean,
My AK.
well, all of them.
Okay. Well, all my all but 3 of my AR mags are steel. All of my HK are aluminum. My AK-74, I do have some Pro Mag and some Tatco. Yes, Pro Mag sucks, but they run in the guns, and that is my Alamo gun, so it doesn't really matter. And then all my AK mags, all those except for, I think, 2 of them are steel.
So, I mean, I got some of the Lancers, and I thought they're pretty cool because they're lighter because they're polymer, but they'll last just as long as steel because the V-lips and the top part's all steel.
I mean, it's my, everyone tells me I need to diversify in my investment portfolio, so I did.
Yeah, but don't you think magazines is is that like overboard or overkill, or is it something you're planning on flipping in the shit hits the fan situation where you can
magazine in a shit hits the fan situation, magazines are disposable.
Exactly. He doesn't have enough.
No, I don't. If I could, I would have 100 for each gun. Because because I'm not bugging out, I'm bugging in.
Even more reason that
where
you
do
don't
you live?
that many magazines.
Arkansas.
If you were bugging out and you had them all in your vehicle and you could shoot it and throw it out the window as you run out of.
Well, I mean,
stop and reload magazines in a firefight? Probably not.
No, heck no.
No,
Yeah,
but you wouldn't necessarily throw them away either.
Well, sure, but if you had to, you could spare to fuse. You can spare to lose a little. Or,
mm-hmm. And you have to think, if I need to go out for water or food, or I need to go out, I'm going to take a couple mags, and if I get into a firefight, I'm not going to go back for those mags. They're going to be gone. So if shit hits the fan, and let's say I need to go out to, go out hunting or trapping or go out and find water, and I roll up on some people that I don't need to be rolling up on, and I get into a firefight, those mags I'm not going to be picking those up at all. And the reason I'm doing this is I'm single, I have the disposable income, and the guy that I'm meeting up with, he has a family, he has a wife and 3 kids. He doesn't have the disposable income. So this isn't just for me in this situation.
Do you live in a rural area or an urban area?
The town I live in is 13,000 people.
So you're saying
he lives in Arkansas. That's
you have like a
major
prepper
city
group or something where you.
That's a big city in Arkansas.
Actually, it's still on the bottom half.
Well, do you have like a prepper group that you're working with, and is that what
there's a couple people that I'm friends with, yeah. But a lot of them, like this one guy that I would love to get into, his plan is to go to Lake of the Ozarks, which is about 2 hours away.
Well, it might be a sound idea, especially if you're not in a rural environment. If you're in an urban environment, including a suburb, you're more likely to have conflict, and bugging in is not going to be a very good or adequate defensive situation unless you've got your house bunkered out like a fort. Even then, with IEDs and Molotov cocktails and things like that, they can cook you alive easily.
That is true, but bugging out where I'm at, you don't want to bug out. Like right now, unless you know exactly where you are, you do not want to just go out walking. You will get shot.
No, be honest here, Foos. You'll hear the banjos, and then you'll get asked.
No. People disappear here several times a year just because they're out hiking and they, are geocaching or something, and they go to the wrong land. There is a lot of people here that don't want you on their land, and they don't.
Of course, because they're afraid you're going to find the still.
Yes.
There's that possibility too.
I mean, it's.
Have you considered, since you have disposable income, have you considered buying a plot of land of your own?
Yes, I am.
Where you're at now? And
I am starting to do that. I'm starting to save up for down payment.
Are you going to do the whole underground bunker thing, or?
Don't really know right now. I mean, I'm not going to be able to, do that because where I live in Arkansas, you dig down a few feet and you're hitting bedrock. So that's not going to
move to like Oklahoma and buy yourself an abandoned missile silo.
Okay.
Actually, they're not going for much. What are they like? They're selling those things off for like $1 million a piece, and it's 100 square acres. I mean, I don't have the $1 million to do it myself, but I think that's actually kind of a cool thing. I know they did. Some people actually have bought them down in Texas, and they use them to teach underwater welding. And they fill up the silos, and you go down there and you start welding on stuff in the water, underneath. And they use them for training schools for like that underwater welding and things like that.
So yeah, people ask me like, why do you have a Tavor that's an urban combat rifle? Somebody asked me the other day, and I had to think about it. Yeah, why do I have an urban combat rifle when I want to bug out into the jungle? And it's because I don't live in the jungle right now. So, but it's paint camoed for the jungle because when I do bug out and I'm looking at a piece of land to build, it won't be more than because it's in a lava 1 zone. If I buy it and there's a few 100,000 acres of park reserve, forest reserve, right on the border of it, then it'll be it's a cloud rainforest. Then it won't be much more than a shack. Yeah, more than a shack, hunter shack or something like that, because you don't want to put too much money into it because
you might have to abandon it.
Well, because you can't get a bank loan on it, first of all. Most banks won't write a loan on lava 1 zones. I mean, that's because they can't get fire insurance for it. But it's really a good bug out place,
Well, have you thought about maybe
until
like a hunting blind and putting it up?
What?
A hunting blind and putting them up. Something that's camouflaged from outside, but you can be hidden inside.
Those are kind of small, though.
Well, you can make them. You can make them as big as you want to. I mean,
I'm talking about like a small storage. Well, not a medium to large storage shed kind of deal that's back in the jungle. Off of the road. The only problem is if you put too much. Unless you cache everything in the jungle, if you put it in a shed, somebody will eventually rob it. So, because if you're not there all the time, so
what I plan on doing is buying some land and hopefully I have land for a couple of years, and then eventually, building on it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, it's just it's like the land is perfect almost. It's just that because of the lava threat, you can't get bank loans, and you really aren't going to want to build too much on it. But if your strategy is not to build, and it's more of just to be able to disappear in the jungle, and just have your caches.
Well, I mean, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some pear tree, apple trees, and stuff like that.
Well, those will get robbed too. If you're not
right,
there,
but I'm gonna get it established on my land, on the land I'm going to get, and as far as food for myself.
Well, if you do that,
go ahead.
I was going to suggest. Have you ever heard of what they call a survival garden?
No, I have
pretty
not.
much. It's just using. It's you can probably Google it and look it up. It's pretty much you're using the fruits. Each plant provides something for the other, so it actually is more productive than a regular garden. And it just looks like a patch of plants.
Yeah, well, what he's doing, though, is he's actually with apple and pear trees, as he said, that's awesome deer feed. So you get deer going to those trees, so you got to source some meat.
Right. And turkeys, and that'll be blueberries and stuff like that, and strawberries and all this stuff, growing there. So they'll have squirrels and rabbits and
bear.
Well, there's not bear here. There's hogs here, which is fine. I'll anytime I see a hog, I'll destroy that.
Yeah, we got wild boar for days here, but the thing is, if you have a garden, you have to be there to tend it.
That's the whole point of the survival garden.
Yeah, but if it's a bug out location where you don't live permanently, then that's different than if you just have a location where you live permanently and you have.
Right. Well, I'm eventually going to live there. Yes.
Again, if you guys, seriously, look it up. You'll understand what I can't put it across in words, but the way I saw it and the way I witnessed them talking about it is it's several different types of vegetables and fruits that grow together, and it just looks like a patch of plants. It doesn't look like a garden.
Yeah, but
at all.
You're going to have predator, problems with hogs and stuff eating your stuff if you're not there all the time to tend to it.
Yeah, I'm going to say deer right now will destroy that really quickly.
A hog, and also in Hawaii we have, I don't know if you guys have it on the mainland, but in Hawaii we have, making a big deal about it lately, rat lungworm, and that's a disease you got to be careful of, because how it works is basically the rats carry this virus. They, in their feces, basically. The snails come, eat the feces, and then the snails, it lives in their slime while it's still wet anyway. And so the snails crawl over your fruits and vegetables, and you eat those vegetables without washing it, then you can get it. Or if the snails climb up into your water tank, if you have catchment, they go into your water tank, then it can live in water indefinitely, and so you need to, and it's a pretty bad disease if you get rat lungworm. But basically you have to fight the snails, and so when you're dealing with gardens and stuff, you have to really be there to maintain it, because I'm sure every area has its own, problems. Maybe some areas don't have rat lungworm and they have other problems.
Well, yeah, I understand. You have to maintain them, but this one, the whole purpose of it is that each plant complements each other in such a way that it continues growth, production, and all that stuff, and it even combats against insects and pests. That's what I'm saying. Look it up. Just look it up. Look them up. Survival gardens or prepper garden or whatever. But it should come across something that says survival garden. And read up on it. That's all I'm saying. It's just because if they give me something,
I've heard about them. I haven't researched it, but I have heard about them.
Yeah, I have not researched them, but no garden will survive here. We've got freaking deer overpopulation. They'll freaking eat habaneros.
Yeah, the pigs will eat everything.
Habaneros are good.
Oh yeah, that's why I was growing them. But they'll actually eat. They pick the fruit off the plant.
Right. The thing is that if you have overpopulation, the deer will eat anything it can. So that's why they need more hunters. Is because I know in Missouri, they're still. They've been upping the limit down here in Arkansas. I think they're going to up it next year, to where I think right now in the zone I'm at, if you do everything right, you could have like 6 or 7 deer a year, and they're still thinking about upping it because we're still overpopulated.
Wow! The meat's going to taste like crap too because they're eating crap to survive. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like a downward spiral. You just have to start dropping them for no reason other than just to get the numbers down, so the animals actually start tasting them when you eat them.
I will say this: you cannot make a bad deer jerky.
Right. I was about to say. Usually, people do that, and whenever they, I knew a guy. He dropped 6 this year, He got two with his bow, one with a muzzle loader, and then he got 2 does and a buck.
Okay, so we gotta spend like at least 60 seconds talking about shit hits the fan bows, because I was talking to the guy at the hunting shop, and he said just forget about all the high tech bows because or crossbows because you need once the bow breaks, you need like an entire setup of gear,
Yeah,
to
a recurve that could shoot wooden arrows that you can make.
Yeah, so
because then you can make and fletch your own arrows. So.
Yep.
Well, you get yourself a good flexible wood. You find some catgut from a snake or some veins that you can keep fairly from like a smaller predator or a smaller animal that you can keep. What do you call it? Elastic. The bow doesn't have to be able to shoot through a tree or an animal. I mean, it can be just enough to bring down a squirrel or raccoon or something like that, so you can get to eat.
Right. And the thing is, if you have a good recurve bow, I mean, the wood's not. I mean, it's not going to go bad. Just have some extra string. I mean, the strings aren't that expensive on that. Have 10 extra strings, and you'll be good for freaking almost forever.
And if you treat them right and you keep them waxed, they last forever.
Yeah, and again, that's providing that when you're hunting, you're not out in the moist air, you're not out during the rain or whatever.
It rains in Hawaii.
This one guy says you can make a recurve bow out of PVC pipe. Prepper bow solved. Next topic.
You can, but they're really crap.
But it if you're going for squirrel or rabbit or something, it doesn't have to do a whole bunch.
They don't last long. They break.
Here it's pig, so it's all about wild boar. So
in that case, just do like us jarheads did and take your K-bar to the end of a long pole and bait them out there and then stab them into the ground and finish them off.
They run real fast through the jungle.
Which another thing I'm going to do is whenever I buy land, I'm going to get into live trapping.
Well, all you have to do is throw out some bait, for boar. Just throw out anything and they'll eat it.
They get smart though. A buddy of mine, he has about 240 acres, and he has 3 or 4 packs that roam his. And he went hunting, and he was scouting this one pack out and took a couple of them. And then he went back out there, and he went out there for every day about 2 or 3 weeks, and he never saw that pack again anywhere remotely close to where he took those other ones. I mean, they're smart. They'll figure out that, hey, our buddy got killed here. Let's not be around here for a while. So they get smart and they'll move on.
But going back, get yourself a nice recurve bow. So what you're going to need, and recurves are the best to learn on anyway. Not the compound bows, but the recurves are the best to learn on.
Learn how to make bowstrings out of stuff in the wilds. Because then you don't have to worry about having a bunch of bowstrings stored up. You know how to make it too.
Right.
So that's my point.
Yeah. Only problem is, you just got to stock up on arrows, and arrows can get expensive.
You can make those too.
Yeah. Well, you can make them, but wouldn't you rather have,
Well, that's why you get a recurve that doesn't have to do the, carbon fiber. You can use the aluminum ones or whatever that are cheaper.
They're not that much cheaper. That's the problem.
I don't know. I'm not a big bow guy. I know my dad. He still uses aluminum arrows.
Jeez, I have aluminum arrows that are 30 years old. And
if you guys, like you guys are gonna end up with property or whatever, another thing you might want to look into is like a lathe or a turn, whatever they call it, where you can just make your own arrows. Put smaller sticks on them, shave them down to where a nice straight shaft, and
that'd be a lathe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's gonna have to be most likely manually powered. So
yeah, I was about to say that.
Well, yeah, it's gonna be manually powered, but I mean, it'll still work.
Wait, well,
You know?
they have old like footlays where sitting there, kind of like the old what?
Footlays?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a guy on
I
PBS.
know.
He does PBS woodwork. He does a lot of woodworking, and that's all he uses is he doesn't use power tools. He uses
Uh,
old-fashioned tools.
like sewing machines, how they had that rocker where the women would sit there and rock their feet to
Yeah.
power the needle. It's
Yeah.
the same concept, except it's a lathe.
Yeah, they do that with a lot of
And you only use
tools.
one foot.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to learn what the hell I'm doing before I.
Yeah,
try
the
and make
one thing you're
arrows.
going to have to learn what to do is how to sharpen the tools.
Yes.
If you can put a well, yeah, because it is slightly different. I mean, they taught us how to like sharpen our files and things like that in aviation maintenance school, but it's not like some push filing, sharpening drill bits, things like that. It takes a little bit of it's a little bit complicated on some of those tools, but
Well,
I mean,
how much are arrows? I mean,
well, it
you got
depends. You get the cheap target ones, the wooden target ones that you can pick up like a dozen for like less than like $20 or something like that.
Yeah, when you
As
look at,
long
like carbon fiber, then you look at I should say not carbon fiber, but carbon, then you're looking at, $10.
that's per arrow too,
Yeah.
and then that doesn't include the head, but it might include the flights.
It'll have the flights, it just won't have the tip. Yeah, then you gotta buy all your tips. Depending on what you're hunting, you're gonna need razor, you have to keep them sharp, so
Well, I mean, okay, if you want to
sharper
look
than
at it,
these.
the best bows, I guess, to learn how to make them would be like the same bows that the Indians used, that they used to take down buffalo with. I mean, it didn't. They
Well,
didn't penetrate.
The
They
Indians
had to.
prefer to herd them over a cliff. Actually,
Well, then there you go.
That's why they came up with buffalo jumps. They herd all the Indians. All the Indians would herd the buffalo to a cliff, and then they just run the herd over the cliff, and then there'd be all.
If they could. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's called the buffalo
the
jump.
plains don't have a whole bunch of cliffs.
well, that's
Yeah.
that's how the Neanderthal and early man took down the big, like woolly mammoth and stuff, was herding them off of cliffs.
Right, but the Neanderthals and stuff like that didn't live in the freaking plains.
The Plains Indians, they used lances or large spears as lances, and then they used bows and arrows. They just pincushion a buffalo until it bled so much it dropped.
Yeah, well, they also use, wolf cloaks to sneak up on them.
Yep.
Well, I mean, all the Indians didn't live on the state plains. I mean,
Oh no, and all the Indians didn't hunt buffalo either. There's a lot, over in the Appalachians and the South and stuff. They never saw buffalo. They didn't know what buffalo was.
Okay. I got the quick history for Memorial Day here on a couple points for the Navy. May 25th, this day in history, 1952. The USS Iowa deployed to Korea, shelling rail and industrial centers, and earned 2 battle stars. And in 1973, Skylab takes off, and was the first manned orbiting space station, and that was an all-Navy crew. Captain Conrad, Commanders White's Kerwin, and in 1985, the USS Alabama, which I think was in a movie, was commissioned, and that was the first stealth boomer, stealth missile nuke platform. So that's today in naval history.
This day in history, in 1787, the Constitutional Convention convenes in Philadelphia.
I like that one better.
Today?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Yeah. And in 1977, Star Wars opens.
Oh.
That's even better.
Yay!
I gotta get ready to sell some of my Star Wars stuff that my revenge.
And in 1994, a Pennsylvania man buried with his beloved Corvette.
So you just Googled this day in history or something?
No, it's History Channel. Confederates scored victory at the First Battle of Winchester. Confederates. Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. Everybody was an American. I mean, half were the South and half were the North, I guess. But no.
Still.
1861, President Lincoln suspends the writ of habeas corpus during the Civil War.
All right. Well, I didn't know that.
Well, right on.
All right, Chris, say something. You've been sitting there.
What? I'm waiting. What's going on?
It's Memorial Day. We're talking about Memorial Day and bows and arrows and things like that.
Yeah, we're talking about Yankees brain too. So if you can chime in on that.
Yankees brain's a weird anomaly. I don't know.
JFK asked Congress to support the space program in 1961. 1935, Babe Ruth hits last home run.
All on May 25th. All right.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
How many people here
Communists launched a new offensive today.
How many people actually realize that this is not actually Memorial Day? They just moved it for the weekend purposes.
Right.
It's the last Monday of May.
It's supposed to be May 30th. It's the day.
Right. Yeah, they just moved to last Monday of May to give everybody a 3-day weekend.
Yep.
So what are you working on, Chris?
Nothing. I'm now on the new computer.
You got a new computer?
Yeah,
you built it last night.
I built it last night. So.
I don't want to talk computers with anybody here because I'm computer challenged.
No,
and everybody else here seems to be like wizards.
No.
Have you heard Stone Guy talk about computers?
I actually feel comfortable talking about computers with Stone Guy. He's probably on my level, if not just slightly higher.
So Stone Guy has not figured out what the caps key is for. Caps lock key.
Chris, quick question. Do you load everything on your single stage? All your pistol and everything, or do you have a progressive or turret?
I load everything on my single stage.
Okay.
Because my single, but I don't like doing a lot of quantity. I like taking my time, and I end up still having more ammo than, I was like doing 38 special, like continuously, like 10 a night. All of a sudden, I have like 1,000. What they call this? 38 specials, and I haven't been able to shoot them all.
Yeah, I went out shooting today, and I stopped at 260 rounds. I had another 100 rounds. I was like, I want to go in. I mean, for me, a normal range day is 300, 400, 500 rounds of 9mm. So it's hard to.
Let's be honest. You were like, I'm getting thirsty. I need more beer.
No. But yeah, I mean, I have a progressive press, and like I'm in the process right now of sizing a bunch of 223 brass. So.
All right, I have some beer news because I heard that Hawaii was like the 5th most taxed
You're
beer.
roboting. You're roboting pretty hard.
93 cents a gallon tax for beer.
For beer? Damn.
For beer?
Yeah. Well, I think there's an article that was released. If you just look up the most taxed, who's roboting, Foos?
No, he's not roboting, Foos. It's your end.
Oh, it's mine? Okay.
Okay. Yeah, there's an article about. I can look it up. I'll get the link. It's about the 5 most highly taxed beer states. Let me just pull it up.
Is California one of those?
I don't think so. No, I think it was mostly southeast. 1 second.
I'm surprised the Bible Belt, with all those freaking semi-dry counties and areas that don't have like a huge
Well,
syntax on
anything.
Well, Arkansas is still 75% dry.
You got to go to the state liquor stores to buy your beer and your liquor, or you can buy your liquor and
No,
wine in the grocery store.
you could buy beer and wine in grocery stores if they have alcohol. Um, if you know, there are liquor stores that all they can sell is liquor.
Yeah,
Oh, that
those are usually
sucks.
state run, right?
No, not state run.
That's Texas.
Well, it's Tennessee and also New Hampshire.
All
Not all
I
over
can say
Tennessee,
is I
just
can go to my
really
grocery
Tennessee.
store and buy whatever kind of booze I want.
Yeah, me too.
Let me put the
So
link.
sucks for you fools.
I
There you
remember
have.
the weirdest experience I had with alcohol was in South Carolina when I was in the army, and on Sunday I went there and it's like, oh, we don't sell those on Sunday. I was like, what? Huh? That's when I was off post. Then when I went on post, it's like, oh, okay, no, you can still buy it. That's why a lot of people want to go on post they can buy alcohol.
Well, that is tax free.
Yeah,
You
duty
don't
free
pay
too.
taxes. You don't pay taxes on military bases,
Yeah.
or at least you didn't used to. I don't know if they still do that or not.
Oh, it's still tax free.
So let's have a look at this chart here. Looks
Yeah.
like
Oh crap, my game crashed.
your game crashed.
I'm playing a game on the side here.
Hawaii is the fifth, 93 cents a gallon. Alaska is number two at $1.07 per gallon of beer. Number one is Tennessee, $1.29.
Oh wow! And I wanted to retire there. I thought that was a free state. I guess I got to choose beer or guns. Beer or guns. I'll go with guns.
Well, California only has 28 cents or 20 cents a gallon tax on beer now. I guess there isn't something that's terrible. That's the first only thing. Oh wait, Nevada is only 16 cents a gallon on beer. And Arizona is 16 cents. So that covers a lot of gun channels right there. But
Damn, Wisconsin's number 48 with only 6 cents.
Wisconsin 60. Oh yeah, that's yeah. Well, who's the lowest?
That's what I'm looking at for right now. Wyoming is 50th at 2 cents.
Oh, wow.
What are you guys talking about?
I linked in the internal the beer taxes nationwide.
Oh,
And
well,
what state are you in, Foos?
Arkansas.
Arkansas AR. You're
Yeah,
number
34.
34 cents.
ARK, right? For
Ooh,
Arkansas.
Tennessee is number 1.
Yeah,
Yeah.
number one, $1.29. Georgia's $1.01.
No,
North
AK is
Carolina.
Alaska.
No, AR is Arkansas. That's 34 cents.
Wow, Alaska's number 2 at $1.07. I'm trying to find 49.
Anyway, I thought this was an important chart for this group.
Oh, I'm happy. Only 6 cents?
Well,
You
you
know,
live in
that's cheap.
Wisconsin? You live in Wisconsin, Court?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
See,
lucky.
this is why I guess it's so cheap in California, is because we can't have cool guns like the rest of you guys, so they try to let us drink our sorrows away at a cheaper price.
I'm glad I don't live in Minnesota. 47 cents?
Yeah, well, it's 93 in Hawaii, so. Jeez. Number 5.
I don't drink that much, but still.
Yeah, I don't either, but when I drink, I like beer. I don't drink much.
Definitely.
I know. Now you guys got me craving a blue, or not blue moon. I was going to get some tomorrow.
Labatt's?
A spotted cow. I really want a spotted cow now, but I can't. I've already drank more than my max this last week.
Well, is beer bad for diabetics? I mean,
Yes,
It's carbs, so
and the bubbles in the beer don't help.
that doesn't bother me. Just the carbs. Got to take extra insulin every time I have it. So
And we had a friend growing up named TJ. He was He was insulin dependent down there. So I just
Yeah, type
type
1.
1.
Yep.
And we'd get tore back as teenagers, and then he'd cheat and take a shot of insulin, and he'd actually sober up a lot quicker than we would.
You know, I'm looking at this map, Foos, right now. You should definitely move north of the border and go to Missouri. It's only 6 cents tax there. No wonder there's no 49 because Missouri and Wisconsin are tied.
Yeah. Now you know why a lot of people go up there and buy alcohol. Gas is cheaper up there as well.
So are you right there on the Arkansas Missouri line, or?
Yeah, I'm about 20 miles south of the line.
Yeah, look into buying property in Missouri.
I have thought about that, but property is a lot more expensive. Property tax is a lot more expensive in Missouri than it is in Arkansas. I had a F-150 in my house for personal property taxes, and it was like $300-400 last year. And if it was up in Missouri, it'd be about $800.
We don't have that kind of tax in Wisconsin.
Yeah, we have personal property.
We don't have. We have like property taxes in California, but we don't have personal property.
Well, yeah, like we have property taxes for the house, and then we have personal property for anything that is tagged for the road, meaning trailers, motorcycles, vehicles.
Well, that's just like registration for us.
Well, no, then we have registration on top of that as well. But registration for like my tags is only like 20 some odd bucks for 2 years.
Oh, for 2 years it's like $75 a year.
But then we have personal property, and I need to pay personal property. Or let's say if whenever I do buy land, as long as there's no residence on that, that would be considered personal property, and I'd have to pay tax on that.
Hawaii has a weight tax for automobiles, like for the weight on the road or something, but they just passed authorization for a rain tax because of all the problems with the Alawai Canal on Oahu, and it's polluted and people dump stuff, but nobody really knows how to fairly apply it, and I think they passed the authorization for it, but they just have no idea how to do it. So it doesn't mean they're going to actually use it, but I mean,
you guys got some weird ass taxes.
Well, it's a weird ass island.
I'm talking about you too.
Oh, yeah.
Personal property tax? Yeah. I'd be getting the hell out of that area for personal property.
Well, Hawaii has some inexpensive. If you're actually living or doing agriculture on the land, then it's very, very inexpensive. The tax, it's like $100 a year or something.
Yeah, it's personal property.
Does that include like a private garden, or do you have to actually do like enough to sell off your property?
Well, they tried to make it a complicated formula last year, but there was so much paperwork, they just gave up, and it's basically back to as long as you're growing something on it. I mean, and basically the rules are it's like it has to be you can't if it's agriculture land or agriculture 5 or agriculture 10 or agriculture 20, that just means how many acres it is. Agriculture 10 is for 10-acre property. But basically the rules are your building, your agriculture building, can only be a certain size depending on how your lot is for doing agricultural things, but it can be a house, but they'll call it an agricultural building, and yeah, you have to grow something on there, but they tried to make a complicated formula, but it was just so much paperwork, nobody could figure it out, and so they gave up last year.
So you like buy a plot of land, and as long as you have like one fruit tree or a plant per acre, you're okay.
They'll do it. You qualify for the low agricultural tax, yeah. But yeah, you can't like make a condo out of your land or anything like that. you only have, like one building, one main house building on it, and
Well,
I grow
I mean,
pot. I want my agricultural tax.
I was actually going to ask about grass, not that kind of grass, regular grass. I mean, does that count as agricultural or
you mean grass?
like a lawn? Yeah.
Yeah. A lawn grass. Well, that's different from like, cattle feed or something. I'm not an expert on the rules, but I don't think the lawn would count. No, I mean,
Huh. Now,
because
what if
mostly
you
you
had a
buy
lawn
land and
and
it's
you
just
owned
jungle.
goats? What if you
What?
had a lawn? What if you had a lawn and you owned goats and the goats actually ate the grass to survive?
Well, I don't know. A lot of people have goats around here, that's for sure. But you got to be careful with your pets and goats because of the rat lungworm. If your dogs eat a snail, forget they could die painfully, very painfully here because of the rat lungworm.
Wow.
So something to keep in mind.
What they need to do is need to release a bunch of cobras back onto the island and let them take out the rats.
Released a lot of what?
Cobras back onto the island.
What? I don't understand.
Cobras is a snake. They
We
kill
don't have
and eat
any
rats.
snakes. We don't have
I
any
know,
snakes
because
on
the
the island.
mongoose killed them all off. People
No, we
brought
never
mongoose.
had any snakes on the island. Remember they brought the mongoose in to kill the rats, except the mongoose are day and the rats are nocturnal, so it didn't work, and they just wound up with lots of mongoose and that
Mongoose
didn't kill
eating
rats.
birds.
Yeah, eating bird eggs, instead of what
I
they.
thought the Hawaiian Islands had like cobras and stuff, and that's why they brought the mongoose in to take care of the snake problem.
No.
And it turned out
No
eventually
snakes.
eliminating them.
No snakes on the Big Island. No snakes in Hawaii anywhere. So,
Well, I never saw them, and I always thought that was because I guess it must have
Yeah,
been like old white
they're
tails
trying
we
to
were calling.
they're trying to keep snakes off the island. There's like the cat-eye snake that's been spreading from island to island in the Pacific via airplane because they crawl up in like a landing gear. So that's something that they're really on the lookout for spraying that. The cat-eye snake is a rear-fanged snake. It is a venomous snake, but it's rear-fanged.
Rear fang, as in the back of its mouth, or its head?
Yeah, exactly. The back of its mouth has the fangs.
well, these
So
aren't
it actually
problems.
envenomates its prey by chewing on them.
Wow.
Well,
Remind me not to run into a cat-eye snake.
that's not something I'm going to run into here. We don't have snakes.
They're trying to keep them off of Hawaii, so yes. Right now you don't have them, but eventually maybe.
Well, you never know.
Again, I swear to God, it was you guys had the mongoose problem because of
You're wrong, dude. I'm just telling you.
I know.
What happened?
I know. And I'm just kind of shocked. That's all.
I have to build up my list of websites for guns again. I have to bookmarks. So
I'm gonna re-bookmark everything. I have so many damn bookmarks. It like takes me an hour to scroll down. It's fucking.
I'm more a little simplistic. I got YouTube, Full 30, gun channels, and which one is it? I watch Game of Thrones on. There's that one.
HBO Go.
I think so. I'd have to look. I don't care anymore. I just wherever I was allowed to watch Game of Thrones, I got it.
Well, the only thing I'm watching this current is the AMC Turn, Washington Spies. That's on every Monday, along with my chat. But it's on. It's also on. They have it on.
Netflix the
entertainment
first
on
season.
demand. Though they have the entertainment on demand, so you could watch it anytime after it debuts.
Oh, by the way, its slang name is a cat-eyed snake. It's a brown tree snake from Australia.
Oh, okay.
But it is spreading. It's an invasive species.
So can you take? I was wondering, can you take giant giant centipede venom and like store it and like poison your arrows with it or something?
No, but
How would you get it out of the centipede? You
Well, they
can't.
got venom sacs. You just cut off the head and then cut off the venom sacs, after it's dead and stop moving, I
yeah, I
guess.
don't know how long the venom stays potent, but I do know that they make an alcohol from those giant centipedes.
Oh, they also make alcohol from
Giant
habus too.
centipede alcohol. Oh
Well,
God.
no, there's in like Okinawa, in some parts of Japan, like Iwakuni, I think it's Iwakuni, they make stuff called habu sake, and it's generally a sake made with habu venom, and the habu is kind of like a relative of the cobra.
Yeah, I heard AKs were going up in price recently. Chris just posted that in the side chat.
Yeah, I was just looking at J&G where they usually the same AK that I bought for $4.99 is now at $5.89.
Yeah,
That's
well,
just
I don't
normal.
know what guns I should get, but it's just like, because I'm not like I own two of everything like Foos. It's like I have one AK, one Tavor, 1911 Colt, 357 Magnum, Ruger, GP 100, and a Ruger LC9S Pro and LC380. That's about
So
it. So
the only thing I have
I
multiples
don't
of
know
the same
what to
caliber of is
get.
the 22s.
So, I was going to ask you guys just on 9mm in general. Maybe a good guy would know this, but so with depending on what ammo you use, like if you just use like the 124 grain, practice ammo or whatever, how much is how much? I'm trying to think of the right hunting terminology. What's depending on the length of the barrel of your 9mm, exactly how much does it change the velocity and the power coming of the round depending.
My last experience is a little bit practical. I did do that. I shot out of typical velocities of 9mm outside of a short semi-auto barrel is about 11 to 1200 feet per second, 1200 max. Um, it adds. I shot out of my PC9 rifle. It went to 1500.
That's a
1500 rounds.
pretty.
Well, how many
So that's like
inches was
a
your
no,
rifle though? How was the barrel? It's a 16-inch
It's
barrel.
a
16
16, it's
inches.
a 16-inch barrel, yeah.
All right. Well, I'm just talking about for handguns though, like a 3-inch barrel compared to a 4-inch compared to a
Yeah, yeah.
5-inch.
But I'm just giving you a baseline. I gave you a baseline.
Okay. With some of my reloads, I shoot a 120 grain projectile coming out of my 5-inch barrel out of my CZ. It comes out at 1100 feet per second. If I put that same round into my 3.5-inch Smith, it's coming out at about 940 feet per second.
So almost subsonic.
Oh, it would be subsonic. Anything
Yeah.
under 1100 feet per second is subsonic.
Yeah. So you have to think that's out of an 1.5-inch difference barrel.
You lose approximately 20% of the power in
Wait, no,
half a barrel.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So and then I've also had a buddy of mine also has a Keltec, and we put that same load into his Keltec sub 2K, and it was coming out 1100 feet of mine, and it was coming out 1600 feet out of his 16-inch sub 2K.
Okay, so for a 4-inch barrel, what did
5-inch it was coming out at 1100 feet per second.
So for a 4-inch would be less than subsonic.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because the 3.5 is like 940.
So a Glock 19 is 4-inch,
Yeah, it's like 3.8 inch or something like that.
and a Glock 17 is
5 inch.
So whenever they do these calculations, like, the most factory range ammo, the 115 grain, they move right around 1100 feet per second. That's coming. That's supposed to be coming out of a 5-inch gun. Or I'm sorry, 4.5 inch gun. Sorry, 4.5 inch gun. So basically, a Glock 17 size.
Okay, say that again one more time, real quick.
Whenever they do like that test for 9mm, 115 grains. Usually they come out at 1,100 feet per second. That's supposed to be coming out of a 4.5-inch barrel.
And that's just standard pressure. That's obviously like plus P's, and that's for the 115 grain, not the 124 grain or the 147.
Correct.
Yeah. So so I'm just looking at if I'm gonna get another 9mm because I already have like the 3-inch or whatever LC 9S Pro. But if I'm gonna get a bigger 9mm, I just wanted to compare like PPX, PPQ, Glock 17, Glock 19. Those are the 4 that hit me, just first. And so what would be, or can I just, does it make any difference if if they can all handle plus P and I just need to get, special, or just need to get different ammo for defense than I just do target practice with?
Well, if you're going to do that, I mean, you can get like the Glock 34, and it has the 5.5, almost 6-inch, or the 17L 6-inch barrel.
They're 5-inch barrels.
They're like 5.25 or something like that. They're a little bit longer than the 5-inch.
Yeah, it's basically a 5-inch barrel. That's what they call them.
And then the Glock 17L has like a 6-inch barrel, though, correct?
No, I think a 16L is basically a 34 on it. Crap, I can't remember. Oh yeah, Glock does have a 6-inch barrel somewhere. It may be the 17L.
Because they say the 17L is still the longest barrel you're going to get in a stock Glock.
Because really, on a stock Glock, the only difference between a 17 and 34 is the barrel and the slide length.
So, and on the 34, the barrel is...
It's like a little over 5 inches.
But also on the 34, they have a 3.5-pound trigger pull stock. It's made more to be competing in like a race gun, build-up gun.
Yeah, but I was on the Glock Armors. Told me about like the Ghost triggers. So I mean, you could change out the triggers on Glocks.
Yeah.
So, but
absolutely,
I just want to focus on what would be the if I'm going to get a bigger 9mm, which one should I get? The PPX, PPQ, the Glock 17, the Glock 19, and now the Glock 34. So which one should I pick?
What about the XD?
Why would you have a Glock? All those guns are full size except the Glock 19. Why are you putting a Glock 19 in with the other full sizes? Just wondering, because I mean, basically.
I talked to the Glock Armors for like 2 hours, and they said, well, you should start with the Glock 19 before you get a Glock 17. That's what they recommended.
It's a couple extra rounds in the 17.
Well, I mean, not in Hawaii, but we can forget how many rounds.
I would go with the PPQ myself, just because it has a better trigger.
Well, you also have to think if he's going to, have it for another gun, you're going to also have to think about parts. And on the island, will parts be accessible for PPQ?
And magazines will be a lot more expensive too.
Correct.
So, well, what about XD? Or buying an XD, a Springfield XD, or going with a Beretta PX4 Storm or a Beretta 92. Those both have like large markets of cheap parts out there, aftermarket parts that can be used to replace any parts that broke. Their magazines are going to be cheaper, especially the Beretta 92 because it's been around for so much longer, and you have reputable companies like Metcar making magazines for them.
Well, basically, this all started when I saw Mad Max. Mad Max rocked the Glock 17, and it's like, okay, I only have like a really small little 9, but if I want to get, I'm not going to be able to buy every 9mm out there. So, like, what large barrel 9 or larger barrel 9 would be good enough?
Why not get a say like a 22 or something, and then get a conversion?
Yeah, there you go.
Well, because
then you have a 40 as well.
Well, and you could get conversion barrel for 357 SIG. But
Yeah.
also with that, if you have a conversion barrel down to a 9, a lot of them, they don't extract. Well, they extract, but they don't have the this extractor and
I
You
don't
know,
know.
I think that's a farce because I know a lot of people who have conversions for their 9mm conversion barrels, and then and also and then you get credible sources like if you want to go with somebody off of YouTube, just look at one of the Haas's last videos. He bought a Glock 22 and he got 357 SIG 9mm barrels out of it. He doesn't even change magazines to shoot 9mm out of his 40 mag, and
Right.
they cycle just fine.
right,
Yeah.
right. It's just if you put a 40 and a 9 mil, you'll go down an extra round. If you put a 9 into a 40, I think you gain 1 round. I think that's what it ends up being.
Yeah, it's
No cycling issues? No cycling issues on that?
No, because basically the only difference between a 40 and a 9 mag is the feed lips. They're a little bit wider on the 40. So on the 9mm, they'll actually sit a little bit higher in the mag, which will then let you add another round in the bottom of it.
yeah. I have absolutely no trouble with my Glock 22. I'm not a Glock fanboy either. It works with the conversion barrel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one thing with Glocks. If you have a Glock, a 40 caliber Glock, buy nothing but 40 caliber mags, and you could run your 9s through them all damn day.
And 357 SIG if you got
And 357, yes.
Yeah, well, 376, yeah, it's a 40 case. So.
Right, a neck down 40 case.
Yeah, that still amazes me that even the 9mm speed through them flawlessly with no problem using the 40 mags.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The only difference is how wide the feed lips are. It's just a little bit wider, and the 9 will sit a little higher in the mag. And that's it. Because when the slide is closed, that next round is pushed down anyway, even in normal 9mm, and then as the slide comes back, that round pops up. So the only difference is that round pops higher to the chamber, so theoretically it's more in line with it, so it should increase your liability. But
the only thing my friends mentioned, and that the Haas mentioned as well, is that if you're trying to store the mags, the rounds have a tendency to pop out on their own if you jar them around a lot because the feed lips are just slightly wider and they don't hold into the magazine as true as they would for a 9mm magazine. But other than that, they cycle just fine. Like if you're like running mags in a magazine pouch and you're running around or you're like say shooting an IPSC course or something and you gotta go down to your knees a lot or whatever, you may have a couple of rounds pop out. But it's not gonna empty the whole entire magazine. But once you insert the magazine at the fire when you begin to fire, it cycles just fine.
And because a 40 is a little bit longer than a 9, the mags are a little bit deeper as well. And that's where you get your rounds to pop out.
Well, I don't want rounds popping out of my 9. I just want to figure out what bigger 9mm I should get. If I want a larger barrel 9mm to shoot 9 and not just the small one, and
just go with whatever is popular on the island. Go whatever you have spare parts on the island. But anyway, I need to get.
It's a choice. There's nothing wrong with it. So
That's
it's
true.
the Beretta. So it's what but I'd say the two most popular 9mm that are probably going to be on the island are probably going to be Berettas because of all the military personnel, and then the Glocks because they're Glocks and they sell everywhere.
I gotta go. It's my bedtime.
There, Pierce.
Thanks for
Night.
stopping by, man.
Yeah.
Happy
See
Memorial Day. God bless.
Yep. See you guys.
Later, man.
That's 2.
All right. Well,
We don't have to leave yet, do we?
what's that?
I said, we don't have to leave yet, do we?
No, we can stay until Yankee comes on and starts defending his brain.
I don't think Yankee's coming on. I
I
think he was
don't.
out hiking this weekend, wasn't he?
Well, that's good. Because usually, the last time he came on and he didn't, we even realized that it was supposed to be about Mad Max until the chat was all over. So,
Yeah, that's true.
so yeah, I think I'll
No,
take
but
my
I mean,
Mad.
honestly, if
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, yeah, if you want the Glock 17, get the Glock 17. You know, I mean, just have you ever fired a Glock 17 before?
I fired a couple of Glocks before.
I've never, I never even wanted a Glock until I saw Mad Max. You know, it was, I saw
Do you
the.
guys have an Do you guys have an indoor range where you can go rent a firearm, or do you know somebody on the
No,
island
we
with a
do
Glock
not have an
17?
indoor range where you can rent a Glock, unfortunately, or anything else. You don't have an indoor range.
Uh,
I mean,
Do
Wait.
there's
you have?
Oh
Do
well,
you
not on your
do you
island. Not.
know?
how can the island not have an indoor range? Because you need to have a 250,000 air conditioner. I mean, there's an indoor range, but it's like an unofficial range because they don't have any air conditioning, and you know the regulations state you have to have like a some $250,000 air conditioning to filter the lead out or something, and not exhaust any lead out. A lead scrubber, I don't know. You know, so they have a range that they kind of unofficially operate on in Hilo side, but it's not technically an official range. But you can go down there and shoot. But they don't rent Glocks or any guns or that I know of. But
The only place I know in Hawaii that rents guns are those tourist places.
You may have to
yeah,
go to Oahu.
That's in Oahu on that one, yeah.
I should just go to Vegas and buy a gun. You know? But
Well, I
no,
was just gonna say, it's just like if you like next time you're at the range, look around for somebody with a Glock 17 or a Glock 19, and say, hey, hey, I really hate to do this. I'm really considering buying one of those, but I've never fired them before. I was wondering if I, supply the ammunition, could I take a couple of shots with it right here under your supervision and everything? And most gun people are friendly enough to say, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, what do you call this? You know what? That's funny is you mentioned I'm just go to Vegas. It's like so you're doing what every other Hawaiian does.
yeah, except it wouldn't be to gamble.
No, yeah, but true. But the thing is, a lot of Native Hawaiians move
they
to
go to
Vegas.
they go to well, they also go to well, they have this big thing. There's a company that just does junkets to the California Hotel or something. You know, I think it is California Casino, and that's like this huge tourist company, and everybody goes there. Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, obviously Vegas is dry, Hawaii is wet, and you can gamble there, and you can't gamble here because this is like you know, they have this gambling is sin missionary. You know, Hawaiians aren't smart enough to actually not gamble, all the time or something stupid like that. When it would just make a fortune if everybody from Asia could fly into Hawaii and be like the Macau of the Pacific.
Hell yeah! I mean, you know what? Some of the natives they should build a casino like the Indians here. That's what you
If
know.
they
It's
were
like
smart, they would stop protesting telescopes and start building casinos up there. The mountain.
There you go.
it's,
Do,
it's
do like all the other tribes in the country have and start building casinos.
Well, they pretty much protest everything. It's a knee-jerk reaction. They protested the super ferry. They protested this $1.4 billion 30 or what the 60 meter the 30-meter telescope that they're protesting and that they're trying to kill now. So,
Why? Because it takes up too much space.
oh, the mountain is sacred, and Pele once visited it, and Pele is actually a Tahitian transplanted god that is not even a
Pele's
Hawaiian
in
god.
Tahiti. Yeah,
Well,
Pele's in
they
Tahiti.
were saying the same thing when they were building the H3. Like, oh my God, they're going through the mountains. It's sacred burial ground. It's haunted. It's
Because
cursed, and
nobody
all
was
that.
buried up there. Not one person was buried up there. It was inaccessible before they built the road for the telescopes. There were some rocks arranged in a pattern because I think once in some, and nobody built anything around there. So, you know, whatever. It's just I can't, relate to people who just want to protest everything. So,
Well, they want to keep the islands as pure as possible, evidently.
well, a casino would make a lot of money for Hawaii, but so would a telescope. So, but I can't. Nothing that happens here actually makes sense. So, you know.
Well, you can always use the Vegas trip as an excuse just to go.
Yeah, well, I'll probably just play poker, visit the range, fire a Tommy gun, something like that. Get some video.
Rent a Glock and shoot it, so you know if you want
I'll just buy a Glock or something, or I don't know what I'm gonna get. If I should get a PPX, a PPQ, a Glock, or a Beretta Storm, or what at this point. But I know I want a bigger 9mm than the one I have.
My personal opinion on that is like go with the Beretta 92, just because it's been around a little bit longer. A lot of people, you're not going to have trouble finding them because they're out there. Because more people are buying Glocks. You'll have more trouble finding a Glock than you would a Beretta, and you're not going to have trouble finding either one. But I didn't know you could actually go to Hawaii, or go from Hawaii to Vegas, buy a gun, and then go back to Hawaii. I didn't, because I know when I go over there and then say, hey, let me see your license. Oh, you're from California? Yeah, we can't sell you shit. You can shoot ammo and stuff here, but we can sell you ammo, but we can't sell you, anything that would be considered illegal for you to take back to California with you. So
really, when you go to Vegas, they actually so you can get around it can't be that hard to get around the residency. You have a PO box and you're set. Something like that.
Well, I'd look into it. I've been threatening to go dual resident with Arizona residency because I have a brother who lives there, and he said I could do it. It's just I don't feel like putting upon him that I could do it, but I just don't feel it's
Are you
correct.
how often do you come here to Arizona?
Oh, I don't hardly ever.
Okay.
But if I became a resident there, I'd be down in Arizona all the damn time.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing too. Are you talking about just purchasing firearms from here?
Oh no, not purchasing. If I was going to become a resident, this is why I don't do it through my brother. Use his address. Is because I find it morally incorrect. So I would actually end up, if I was going to go to Arizona to become a resident, it's because I have found work there and I plan on living there.
All you need is proof of address here. So if you can list your brother's address.
Well, yeah, and I could even, have one of my credit card bills sent to his house or whatever.
Yeah.
And that would give me, proof of address as well. But again, I find that morally incorrect.
If you're, is it? In Hawaii, is it that difficult to get a Glock or something? I'm not.
No, it's easy. It's easy.
But if you really want the Glock, get the Glock.
Where to go you could go to somewhere where there's a range where you could actually try it out without buying it. We don't have that here. That's all. I wouldn't fly there just for that. I'd just take my chances on one.
Well,
what they had in the shops,
yeah.
I could understand accessories or something. Those you could buy there and ship back to yourself if you wanted to, but the actual gun itself, just test it out there and then buy it in Hawaii and all's good.
I was going to say just use the Vegas trip as an excuse, well, I want to buy a Glock 17, I'll go to Vegas, and then turn it into a trip, use it as an excuse to go on a vacation.
Getting back to the issue that I had brought up, so what do you think is a good length for a 9mm, handgun that if it's not going to be a concealed little thing?
5-inch.
5-inch?
Yeah.
I'd go 4 to 5 inches.
My 1911 and 9mm was at 5-inch was very, very accurate.
Yeah, 5.25 is a norm.
Yeah.
It's getting that way. They're starting to make longer barrel guns.
And the guns, the 9s that are the 5-inch are what again?
The Glock 34, the 17L, the XD 4.5 or 5.25. The XDM, sorry, 5.25 or 4.5. let's see, the BBQ is going to be like a 4-inch barrel. It's not going to be a 5-inch barrel. So, or a 1911 SIG 226. Pretty much anything like that. Beretta 92.
All right. Well, I think I missed one or two of those because your voice, your connection wasn't that good. So just give me a quick list those all over 5-inch barrels one more time.
All right. Glock 34s, Glock 17L, Beretta 92, XDM 5.25, a Taurus 92 FS.
No, I'm not gonna get a Taurus.
No, the 92 FS is actually really reliable.
Yeah, it is a very good gun, actually.
They call it the Brazilian Beretta, actually. And that's pretty much it, really. Or a 1911 with a 5-inch barrel or an extended slide 1911. But other than that, generally everything else is going to be like in between 4.5 inches.
And the Glock 19 is 4.5.
It's more like 4.
4.
It's like 3.8 or something like that.
Okay.
Not enough to make a difference. But I mean, you're not going to be shooting 150 yards. You're only going to be shooting standard pistol ranges.
Right.
Right. Well, then it doesn't really matter. Get whatever fits your hand the best and buy what you like.
Well, but we're talking. I was just talking how much, power. Yeah, I mean, you get more power. Muzzle.
It's going to be negligible.
Or whatever it is.
It's going to be negligible between the barrel lengths and like he was saying, between like with an extremely short barrel, like 3.5 inch, they were saying that it loses 20%. But then you go into barrels that are like 16 inches compared to 5 inches, and you're only gaining 25%. So I mean, really, after in between 4 and 5 inches, the power differential is going to be negligible. It's really not going to be an issue. I mean, until you get out to like super long ranges. But if you're keeping it at 50 yards and in, you should be fine.
Okay. Well, you're saying there isn't that much of a difference between 4 and 5 inches barrels as far as?
Yeah, the power differential is going to be very negligible. I mean, you may lose 10% at max. Right. And then, another one to look at would be, if you're not going to be worried about barrel length, would be like a Ruger SR9 as well. Those are actually really nice shooting guns. Ruger really has improved their game a lot with those.
Yeah, I like my SR40. I'm definitely a Ruger fan.
I have a Ruger P89 or P85, sorry, and I've had a Ruger P89 and a Ruger P95, and my mom has an SR9, and the SR9 is definitely the better shooting of all of them.
I have a Ruger P85 and P95.
Oh, right on.
My 85 was actually the first semi-automatic, like above like 8 round capacity 9mm I ever bought. The first 9mm I bought was like a Smith & Wesson 908, but it only had 8 rounds. So I decided, I was shopping around for something with larger capacity. So I went to a gun shop, and this guy kept showing me, oh, well, you want the Sig Sauer piece, you want the Sig Sauer here. It's like $600, $700. It's like, how about this? Oh, Ruger P95. Ruger P85. It'll shoot, I guess. It was $300.
Well, yeah, and then honestly, I will stand behind Ruger forever, simply because the slide I actually have, the entire upper portion, the entire upper assembly for the P85 I have now is actually a remanufactured P85 slide, because my friend had gotten some bad reloaded rounds from a friend who had just started reloading, and he had not one but 2 squibs back to back, which had the round stuck in the barrel.
Yeah.
Fired the 3rd round, and all it did was bulge the barrel.
On what gun?
It was the Ruger P85.
Oh, wow.
It's because Ruger built their stuff to like tolerances, like
That's a
say
tank. Ruger
the
P85 is a tank. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, well, all their guns are tanks. They build their tolerances up to be like 5 times greater than that of what most people do. Most other companies do,
Well, sure.
and but they're really squirrely guns. But they're ultra dependable.
Oh yeah. Well, here's the thing though. It's a little bit my fault though, because I was running it dry. Because I was a I did use my P85 at the James Yeager tactical fighting rifle class as my backup pistol, and it jammed on me a couple of times. Unless I had to like re-rack the slide a couple of times, but it was my fault. It was my fault because I keep dropping the mag and I keep putting dirty mags in there and it's not lubricated. My fault.
Well, again, I was just going to ask if you clean your mags a lot. But I mean, honestly, from what I understand, everybody's guns break. It doesn't matter what they are when you take a James Jacob class.
Yeah.
So, it's like Haas. He went in there with 2 different rifles, and he ended up saying he had to switch over. I mean, he had to run like 3 different GoPros. It wasn't just the guns that were breaking; it was everything else. And when you saw what everybody was doing, a lot of people were having these problems, and that's because James Yeager was putting these guys through these extremely ultra extreme. They're running them in the dirt and the water and all that crap, and you're still running them with all the dust and mud and all that crap, and you don't have time to sit around and clean them because he's got you moving. He's got you moving. He's simulating an actual combat situation, and because of that, you're going to get shit in your gun, and I don't care what you got because even AKs were jamming up on those courses. So it's it's really not. It's something to say that I've taken a James Yeager course and my gun never malfunctioned.
Well,
That would be something to say.
Well, my AK never malfunctioned. So.
What about? Has anybody had their Glock malfunction in a James Yeager class?
Oh yeah, a couple times. Yeah.
And it's probably just dirty crap in the magazines, and you get a failure to feed, and then you tap right thing, and you're back up on target. But when it comes to back to the P85, the P85 actually came out in 1985. It was Ruger's entry into the firearm, the sidearm for the U.S. military.
Yep.
And of course, it lost to Beretta, obviously. But yeah, it was one of the companies that actually put it out there. And from then on, that was actually their very first high production. Actually, I think that was their very first semi-auto they've ever made, other than the Mark II or Mark III series 22s. I don't think they, prior to that, the only semi-auto handguns they made were 22 caliber long rifle, and then Ruger just kind of blew up from there. And then came like the P89 and the P90 and the P91 and all that stuff, and that's when they started having different variable calibers. And then now they got the SR9.
Let's just boil this down. If the shit hit the fan and you had to pick one 9mm pistol, which one would it be?
I would take my Ruger P85 over. I would have to say the Ruger P85, just simply because you can, like I said, the damn thing took 2 squib rounds and a full powered explosion right behind it, and all it did was blow, bulge the barrel. It didn't even crack the metal. So I feel that if it does malfunction, I'm not going to die because, or directly because of it. Like the gun's not going to blow up in my face. That's kind of a kind of tough standard to beat. And as for reliability, as long as you're using good ammunition, you're not using bad reloads, which were just pretty much a primer and a bullet. And now that I know what those sound like, I know what to look for. I would go with the Ruger P85 just because it's a tank. It's so freaking durable. But a lot of people choose the Glock because the Glock is proven too, and so are a lot of other guns out there.
Okay. I think the Glock it's just been around so long, people kind of default to it.
Yeah. Like my P85, I've had my P85 forever. It's one of the reasons I've never sold that gun is because of what it's been through and how it's survived, and then how it's never betrayed me. The firearm has never given me cause to want to get rid of it, or even need to get rid of it. I'd rather go homeless than lose that firearm. And it's not an ultra super classy, ritzy, I want to, gun or anything like that, or it's not a family collectible, right? That, like I said, I put that gun through hell since I've owned it. Like, I mean, the gun was purchased in 1985 by my friend, and I purchased off my friend in '89 when he got his P89. So I've had that gun for, what, 10, 20, 30 years, 30 plus years, and the gun is never, ever, other than those squibbles, and that was the ammunition, not the gun. And then
So
the gun
I
still
think
came through like a champion.
and it's built like a tank. You can shoot plus P, and it's a 5-inch barrel.
Yeah.
Okay, good gun.
And you might be able to pick one up cheap online too.
It's $300. It hasn't and doesn't go over $300. So
Yeah, the Rugers are generally undervalued for the most part, so they don't usually go up very much.
The only thing bad about it is the P85 doesn't have a tack rail. I can't mount a weapon light to it.
I really don't need that.
I got a what do they call this? Did you get the whole grip for it? The rubber grip?
Yeah, I got the whole replacement grip for it. Definitely, I think that's the first thing everybody who buys one of those does.
Does somebody want to make a picture of a P85 real quick, or?
Hold on, let me get mine.
Mine's tucked away right now. I can grab it if you want.
Well, now, oh, the good guys, let him do something.
Yeah, the SR series is nice, but I just don't like a lot of the plastic parts, so I just go to Galloway Precision and replace a bunch of that stuff.
I would say the same thing about some of the older Smith & Wesson. My friend bought a 457, which is their double action, single action cheap 45, and he had this sear hook, or not sear hook, but a piece that hooks to the sear break because it was plastic, and he didn't have the gun that long. I found the piece. I took the gun apart, found the piece that was broken, and said, "Look, that's what you need to replace. It's right there." And he called and ordered it up, and they sent him a new one, and it was, go figure, aluminum.
Right,
and the gun's never failed since.
Ambidextrous mag release, ambidextrous safety, decocker. The only thing that I do not like about this, one of the things I don't like about this is they don't have like serrations for slides for the slide. You have to use the safeties to release the slide. Other than that, though, it's a damn good gun. So it's got the whole.
Well, that's if you do the archery grip on it. If you do the wrap over grip, it's fine. I don't have any issues.
Yep.
It looks like a 1911-ish.
Ish. More like if you look at the shape of it, it's more like the high power. Browning high power.
Yeah. It's lighter than a high power. It's blockier than a high power. But the sights are good. The trigger is not great, but it's functional. It works. And mine's the stainless version.
The double action. The double action is very long creep. The single action though also has a little bit of a creep. Now this is the last of the P series. The 95. Yep. It's pretty much what do you call this? It's the trigger and everything is pretty much the same. The grips are
you got to get like a whole wrap around for it.
Yeah. The whole you can do that. Hold on, I gotta
Well,
mute somebody.
Chris, how's it going?
Yeah, stand by. I'm gonna mute you. Hold on.
Then you can't hear my words of wisdom.
Exactly. Goodbye. There you go. All right. All right. He's
It's your
completely
loss,
gone.
man.
What the hell? Oh, I can still hear you. The fuck? There you go. He's gone. There you go.
Well, I didn't do anything.
Your
But,
loss.
I can still hear you. What the fuck? All right. How about this? Let's just make it easier here. There.
Just kidding. Come on. Be a bud.
I am not your bud.
Oh, come on. We've been friends for years. I
This
tell
is
everybody about how I got this really cool friend.
supposed to be about Yankee's brain or something.
Oh, are we talking about Yankee's brain
No,
still?
we're talking about P85s, Rugers.
yeah, Ruger P85.
And,
I don't really have any experience with those, so I'll just sit back quietly and listen to you guys.
Well, it looks like Good Guy took off, but
Yeah.
it's honestly, yeah, the P85 was probably one of the, or is, in my opinion, probably the most reliable. At least mine is the most reliable handgun I've ever owned.
It looks like I'm gonna hate the trigger though. I mean, if I buy that gun.
You can get a trigger job done to it. Gunsmith should be able to do it for you fairly cheap. But I
We don't
mean,
have a gunsmith. We have one gunsmith on the island.
it's like it's like anything. You want super high performance, it's going to break down a lot. You want ultra reliability. It's not going to be the fastest, smoothest riding, but it's going to be there for you every time you need it.
Yeah. It's the 95s do have like does have like a limited tack rail, very limited tack rail, but you can still get a decent flashlight for it.
Like dating a fat girl, you're saying?
I would not classify it as dating a fat girl because I would still be. I still go out in public with my 85, and most people are like, "Wow, you still got one of those?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then all I get from them is good memories on how they've had theirs. They've never had any problem with theirs. The
Well,
ones that
fat
they
girls
don't
are
either.
better in bed, I think. But anyway,
Well, they try harder.
well, the point is, I'm just trying to figure out, what nine. If I'm gonna get a larger size nine, what's gonna be the best for me? I don't know if I'd be happy with that trigger that I just saw.
Well,
I
you got
mean,
to remember, Glock's got kind of a mushy trigger too, but you can do the
well,
25-cent trigger job
Glock
on it.
has
So
a lot of aftermarket triggers, like Ghost Trigger.
it sounds to me like you're trying to get justification to go
No,
buy a Glock
no,
17.
no, because
Just go buy it because you want to.
I like the PPX. I don't know anything about the PPQ, but I mean it sounds like you know if the solution was to go buy one of everything, then that'd be cool. But I'm not going to do that. But uh, no, so whatever this thing is between Biker Bob and Google, I'm just trying to get some information on what because I want to buy a larger 9 millimeter than I've got, and I want to just get all the
Oh,
information I can.
okay,
before I make my
what's your
decision.
criteria? What's your criteria for a large 9 millimeter?
Just uh, a decent trigger, easy to disassemble and clean, and reliability.
Beretta 92.
Yep, thank you.
Browning high power.
That's the single action. If you don't mind carrying locked and cocked, yeah, you could do that. Or a CZ75.
Everybody keeps talking about CZ75s, so why?
They are awesome guns. They're just out of the box awesome guns. Their trigger is kind of iffy when you get them out of the box, but again, a little bit of work and they're good to go.
Yeah, I would say like CZs, FN, either H or S series. There's a lot of stuff you couldn't go wrong with, really.
Yeah. But I mean, but the only gun that I can think of that comes with a decent trigger out of the box is the Beretta. I mean, and
Storm?
then you can
The 92.
yeah, the 92, yeah. Well, the British Storm's not bad either, but the 92 out of the box is, I would say, it's probably for a large frame, full size frame 9mm handgun, easy to break down, very reliable. Recoil management is awesome. The aftermarket support is phenomenal. There you go.
As far as having a lot of parts, you mean for it?
Oh yeah,
And what's the
Kind of
barrel length
interesting.
of the 92?
it's 5 inch.
5 inch barrel. Okay.
That was
But
one of the requirements for the U.S.
thanks.
military.
Hey, well, thanks. I mean, yeah, we've been talking about 9mm for a while because I might be buying one, and I haven't made it. Really haven't made up my mind, and so I'll sleep on it for a few days. Go to the gun shop, have them lay them all out on the table in front of me.
Yeah, one thing.
Remember this: whatever feels best in your hand is probably going to be the gun you shoot best with, because
Yep.
you're going to be naturally comfortable with it, so you're going to be naturally more confident with it.
One thing I like about the Ruger P series too is I got I got a lot of mags for it because it will fit the same gun.
Yeah, well,
I've
that
got like
actually
8
counts, you know.
And it also the mags also fit the Ruger PC9 too.
All right.
So I think I'm gonna go to the gun store tomorrow, and just have them say I want to let's see, it's easy, P85 or Glock 1719 and Beretta 92, and
Beretta.
just lay out everything in front of me and a PPX and a BBQ, and then I'll lay them all out side by side, and I'll make up my mind if he wants to do that.
Well, I don't see why he wouldn't if he's going to sell a gun because of it.
Yeah, you just tell them you're going to buy one of them.
I would definitely go out and shoot basically all of these and see what you actually like.
That's my thing too. Is like it's like the grip comfort's always a bonus. Like the first time I put my hand on a Beretta 92, I was like, it was the only other gun that felt so natural in my hand, other than the 1911. That's so. If I ever buy another 9mm, because I have my P85 already, it would be a Beretta 92. I honestly got the P85 because it was inexpensive, super reliable, and then it's just grown on me since. So
Well, the P85's been around a while, but do they actually even have any barrel conversions or anything?
no, they don't. I'm sure you can find somebody who makes them, but
Yeah, that's the downside. Like, in this L series, there haven't been any barrel conversions. There's barely any stuff out there aftermarket, really, even after all this time. So I would say kind of Glock, just for the fact that it's so reliable and there's so much aftermarket stuff.
Anyway, this is great because this is the reason I like gun channels, because if I don't know something, I can come on and if I have to make a decision, I can get all kinds of information, and it helps a lot.
and that's why I like this channel too. Honestly.
I think that's why we're here.
Well, and we can also always insult each other, so that's just for fun. That's why we're here.
Well, that's what buds do.
There's
I'm
that.
hearing an echo. I'm hearing an echo.
Yeah, somebody's at one.
Is it me?
I don't know.
Hey, hold on, I'm gonna mute myself. Give me a second here.
Test 1 2 3 2 1 2
1,
3
2,
2 1.
3, 3, 3, 1.
Bob, don't complete the test.
1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1.
1 2 3 2 1 3.
Blue 42, blue 42.
Omaha.
Okay. Hold on. So go ahead and say something. See if it echoes.
Omaha.
Echo.
No, it's not me then. Somebody else is it.
Okay, is it Bob?
Bob, do you have a headset?
Yeah.
It's around your neck.
I think he's trying to ask you to put your ears on.
Yeah, it's supposed to do that.
That's probably what it is.
Okay. Oh wait, he's muted and I'm still hearing an echo.
I've got my ears on,
I think
but there's a delay here.
I think it's Brian.
Say something again.
I think it was Brian left.
Is that better?
Check.
Now I can't hear it.
Is it me?
Oh wait, I have a volume.
It's me. Hold on. I think it's me because I'm seeing my green green bar
Hello?
go up. I'm seeing my
Check
green.
1, 2.
Hold on. I'm seeing my green
Everybody
bar
hear me
go
now?
up.
3, 2, 1, 2, 3. 3, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, now I can't hear anybody else.
3, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Anybody? Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, I hear you.
Oh, you fuckers. I know what you
Any echo?
No.
All right, and I don't have the delays gone, so we're good to go.
Good guy. I'm sorry, people out there in the audience, but hey, this is YouTube and stuff happens.
It does.
But anyway, I just want to say, yeah, that's really good thing because hey, there's like I said, there's stuff I know about, like maybe I might know a couple things about the Navy or the Middle East or the guns that I have I know about, but 9mm still pretty new to me. I just got my LC 9S Pro a little while ago, but I did want to. Basically, I saw Mad Max and he rocked the Glock 17, and I wanted to look at larger barrel 9s, so I could.
Well, speaking of your LC9 Pro, S Pro, whatever, is it LC9S Pro? Is it
Yeah.
proper? What do you think of it? Have you got to fire it yet? Or?
Yeah, it's nice trigger. It's just a small little tiny thing, and I like it. But I wouldn't want. I'd like to get a larger barrel because a 3-inch barrel just I don't think would cut it for survival. Situation. It's okay for a concealed carry, but or around the house or something. But
Or a backup?
yeah, I wouldn't trust my life. I would rather have a full-size gun if my life was on the line.
Oh yeah. Full-size guns generally have higher capacity, more ammunition, and all that. I've always been because I've been limited to 10 rounds for the longest time, and I grew up with the 1911. I've always been a fan of 45 ACP, and like I said, because I've done the tactical training out here through an organization called Firearms Training Associates, and I've done some IPSC shooting and all that. It's reloading and carrying. I just carry extra magazines. It's like even my duty rig when I was working armed security, I would have 4 Wilson Combat 8-rounders on my belt, and then I'd have one in the gun. And
so you carried 45?
Yeah. I carried it locked and cocked. It freaked a lot of people out. They're like, "Why is your gun cocked?" Because it's supposed to be. Well, why? Well, don't worry about it. It's not drawn, so don't worry. It's not going to do anything.
I've had somebody yell at me long back about. I had a 1911. I had it in condition one. I put it on a table, a low table, and he said, "Hey, what if the dog jumps up on that? It'll go off." I was like, good luck with that. That's like I kept looking at him weird. They kept saying, "Yeah, go ahead, look at me weird. If anything happens."
The dog fired the gun. It's not my fault.
You look at them and just, you don't know much about firearms, do you?
No. They're good with firearms, but they know more about you only know like Glocks and stuff like that. They don't, they're not familiarized with hammer stuff. So, tactical type of guy.
Well, then, yeah. Well, what I can't stand is like out here for the longest time, everybody was buying 1911s. So you get these guys, these idiots, go out there and spend $3,000 on a 1911, and then they bring it to these classes that we take, and they'd muzzle F everybody. You know, it's like I got to the point where I was actually in class once, and they were acting like idiots. And I think it was a CCW recall class. And I was just there to do some shooting and have some fun. That I actually stepped out of line. I stopped, cleared the line, and then told the instructor I'm going to go ahead and uh, sit back here with you guys and not shoot for a while. And he was like, well, why? And I said, because none of these idiots know how to use these guns. They're going to shoot somebody. And, he always preached 1911 is more of an expert's gun anyway. You
Really?
actually have to know what you're doing with it
Do
to
you?
carry it. Yeah, you should, honestly, because there's a lot of idiots out there that just, they don't train with them. They just buy them and it's like, and when they do train with them, they don't train correctly.
Well, that's what I
And,
did for the first 20 years I owned it. I mean, I had other things to do. I would go out in the range,
well,
but I had other stuff to do. But yeah, until I got into guns, I didn't really
my
shoot
dad,
it much, and
my
I
dad was
still need a lot of
raised
work.
my dad was, he was raised up with the 1911. I was raised up with the 1911. My brother, my dad was actually on the Navy rifle pistol team, so he was he was the first man to teach me to shoot. And then, it's like from there, obviously my training has gone on. I've had, my best friend Brad's dad was an FBI firearms instructor for 70th County Sheriffs. FBI certified, I should say, firearms
Shit, I
instructor
didn't even
for
know anybody in California knew how to shoot. I mean,
and then I joined the Marine Corps. I got out. I went through FTA, which is kind of like gun sight light because the guy who owns FTA is the guy who rewrote most of the policies and procedures after Jeff Cooper passed. Um, his name is Bill Murphy. His partner is Doug Martin. They also own the Surefire Tactical Institute. Um, but back when I was going through their classes, it was just gun sight and FTA. And then, like I took classes like Armed Vehicle Operations from Ken Vogel, which he was the actual developer of the program. He's also a senior range master for Gunsight Academy. It's like a lot of gunsight training. You're just gonna have to go to gunsight to get it. And the firearms training is actually it's really good and it's not that expensive and it's right here and that's like I don't have to drive forever and the prices are way more reasonable than like me having to go to Arizona, get a hotel for a week, or be willing to camp out on the grounds for a week, and then pay the
yeah, I think I'd have to
triple the
if I
cost of
want
the
to be a
classes.
really good shot, I'd just have to go to Arizona and hang out with G-Webs for 2 weeks if he could stand me. Get some
Well,
good
you know what?
training.
Gunsight Academy, Thunder Ranch. Uh, yes, I'm gonna say give James Jagger my support on that one. Another one would be one of his guys has left him and gone on his own. Reed Heinrichs. He's got Valor Ridge coming up, and he's actually building living quarters, kind of like a bunkhouse style living quarters for the students to come out and actually take the classes, so you don't have to worry about hotel fees. That's kind of nice. Um, I like Reed. He's an intelligent man. He's well spoken, well educated. He was a teacher, cop, and a Marine. So he's got my three votes of confidence there. Um, and he was one of James Jagger's primary instructors when he was with James Jagger. So he's
Yeah, I definitely like Reed Hendricks. Does anyone actually know the backstory as to why? I mean, does he feel like he should move on or what?
um, you know ever since James Jagger started introducing Reed Hendricks, I was constantly, Reed didn't have his own Facebook page, he didn't have anything like that. I think James spawned him into it, and then he grew from it. There's some controversy over the Patriot nurse and James Jagger talking trash about her too much. I don't know if it's true. I just know that Reed has finally moved on, and he seems much happier. And once he gets the school going, I think he's going to be really, really successful.
Yeah, I would definitely be more interested in going to Reed Hendricks than Jaeger.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Right off the bat, I agree with you 100% on that.
I mean, I don't fully agree. I mean, I think he's a little, how do you put this?
Moonchildish.
Well,
He does
no,
have a bit of a hippie vibe to him.
I think a little exaggerated ideal of the founding fathers. Other than that, though, he's an awesome guy from what I've seen.
Well, he's also got his degree in history. So yeah, he might be slightly exaggerated. Again, a lot of history is written or seen through the eye of the people who read it is how it is interpreted. So, like, I could write something down, and then you and Hawaii could read it 20 years down the road and get totally different meanings out of what I wrote down.
True,
So,
but I just think back in that era, it was a little more animal farmish. More people are certain people are more equal than others.
yeah, there was definitely it still works today the same way, the haves and the have-nots. But yeah, I see where you're coming from on that.
Oh, thank God he's gone.
I'm
Oh,
not.
Bob left?
Yeah.
I actually want to ask Bob some questions, but it's like I really wanted to stay on topic too. I don't have anything against Bob. I like it, but everything does get crazy, and we weren't staying on topic.
It's what do you call this? It's history with me and him. So that and
Well,
that and an annoyance with, like, all of a sudden he changes the topic, or he'll say, um, well, here in Canada, it's like we're talking about something else, pal. So
Well, I like him, but I like listening to him sometimes a lot. But anyway, I didn't say to leave or say to stay, so he's welcome back. Anyway, so we're talking about 9 millimeters because somebody linked in the chat a link in the called the best9mm.com or best9mm.com, and they have a list from 1 to 20.
they're probably all modern made too.
Yeah.
What do you expect?
CZ75 SPO-01, number
That
1.
is that one's about the size of the Glock 19. It's very comparable to the 19, except for it's hammer fired, not striker fired. And I've never fired one, but from all the reviews and everything I've seen on him, I would be interested in owning one. I would definitely be interested in owning one, but I'd probably get it in. I honestly, I would rather have 45 than 9 millimeters. That's just me. I like a bigger bullet hitting a target does more damage.
Right. Well, look, I mean, I have a 45, but this isn't about that. This is
I
about
know it's about 9 millimeters.
a 9 millimeter. So, I could do a chat on 45 and say, yeah, I like blasting shit with my 45, but I wanted to. I mean, 9 millimeter is cheaper ammo, I think, but
Yeah.
and I think I would like to have a full size 9 and a full size 45, and then I can figure out which one I want for the situation I'm in. And I just got compact 9 right now, so like I
Well,
said,
there you go.
I'll lay everything on the table and make up my mind. But is there anything else anybody wants to say on 9 millimeters before I finish this one topic out?
Uh, would you consider owning a 9 millimeter carbine as well?
No, I don't want a carbine.
Uh,
I'd just pick up a rifle instead. A regular rifle instead. A pistol is a pistol. A rifle is a rifle. So.
Oh, the reason I was asking is my dad really likes the M1 carbine. The ammunition is a little bit more expensive than 9 millimeters, and it's scarce.
Yeah.
But my mom has a 9 millimeter handgun that he shoots. She has an SR9, as I've said before, and then they also make a carbine now in 9 millimeter. So I was trying to give him that option. So if he wanted to, he could still get virtually the same effect from firing the weapon, which is very little to begin with, because it has very very low, very low recoil report. But yeah, it was just something I was going to throw out there. If he likes the carbine, then you get it in 9 millimeter and have it, still be able to shoot it cheaply.
All right. Well, one day soon we'll figure out which choice I make. Not too distant future.
Well, I'm not here to judge. I just want to know what you get. That's all. I mean, you can totally throw us all off and go buy $1,000 Sphinx. And,
No, I'm not going to do that. I guarantee you that.
Or you come back with like a Sig Sauer X6, the X series.
All right. So, is there anything else anybody wants to talk about now? Are we done with 9mm or?
Okay, let's do it 40 now.
No.
Oh, the 40 caliber hands down the Walther P99 QA. That is my absolute favorite 40 caliber handgun in the world.
Well, everybody wasn't there? Haven't we hasn't the general conclusion been reached that 40 was a failure, and the police departments are dumping it, and
That's not necessarily true. I see a lot of cops, a lot of law enforcement agencies still using it. I see a lot of law enforcement agents go to 357 SIG. The round is still effective. It's a very effective round. And as for the whole craze between bullets, the defensive rounds nowadays, it's very negligible and all that stuff. Bigger is still better when it comes to hitting something. The heavier it is, and the bigger it is, it's going to do more damage than the smaller rounds. That's just general basic physics. If it weighs more and it's bigger, it's going to hit and do more damage.
yeah, I have. It's like when I looked at some 9mm shooting the bull videos on Terminal Ballistics. They had They had like some 100 and I forget what it was, 154 grain subsonic 9mm, and it did more damage than the stuff going faster. But then I also saw some 9mm which was like which was lighter but was just going at some incredible rate of speed, and it just blew everything away. So I think Mac did that or something recently, but
yeah, well, speed. I mean, speed overcomes armor. For penetration, you want speed. You know, for lethality, I still stand by bigger is better. I mean, most of the firearms instruction I've gone through in my life, it has always been 45 is king when it comes to stopping power and or lethality. Because lethality and stopping power are two different things, actually. But because you can shoot somebody and kill them, they'd be a kill shot in 20 minutes, but they're still shooting. But something that's going to stop somebody immediately, that's kind of what you want, to get yourself out of the situation as fast as you got into it. And I will still stand by 45, and simply because most firefights are in between 3 and 6 rounds at up to 21 feet, up to 21 feet.
Not the firefights I get into.
Well, playing Call of Duty doesn't count.
Haha.
How many? Well, now as a helicopter mechanic, I mean,
okay. In the Marine Corps, I did the basic training, the basic firearms thing. I went through boot camp. I did my quals every year on the M16 and the M9. So I did that. Plus, I learned to shoot from my father, who was rifle pistol team guy, my friend's dad, who was an FBI certified firearms instructor, and then I went through, and out of all my training, I would have to say going through Bill Murphy's Firearms Training Associate was probably the best of it all. But he agrees with me. Bigger is better when it comes to taking people down. You hit them with a bigger bullet, they're going to go down harder and faster.
Yeah, I didn't mean that to come out the way it sounded. My uncle was, when he really wasn't in combat. He was in S2, and but when he came back, I mean, it just, if you're in Vietnam, that the combat zone was anywhere that they could kill you. So he came back, and he would always be sitting in the back of a restaurant to make sure he could spot he would keep his eye on the front door and the backyard or back
Well, you know
door,
what
and
S2
this is
is,
in
right?
Los Angeles, because he was just used to that at that point. So
You know what S2 is, right? It's intelligence.
yeah, he did that. He did 2 tours doing that.
Okay, and then it's like, and then my friend's dad, who was in Vietnam, uh, he was in the Air Force. And he said his job was a pilot. He piled a lot of shit here. He piled a lot of shit there. But he was on a lot of patrols too. And it's like he was
He
just
didn't go on any patrols, my uncle, but he was in Saigon, and th- you had just as much chance of being killed in Saigon as you did going on a patrol. Well, not just as much chance, but you had a high chance. I mean, they blew up people, and.
yeah. It was definitely an active combat zone, no matter where you were at, and sometimes even on base. Uh, So it's like, those guys that came back from Vietnam, I think they got a raw deal. That's a whole other story. But yeah, I didn't think you came across wrong. I didn't think you were, questioning, just because I was a helicopter mechanic, I can't really, I wasn't trying to talk down the good guy either.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're still with us wherever you serve, so thank you.
Well, thank you. Well, good guy was in the Army, right?
Yep.
And you were over in Iraq and Afghanistan and all that?
No, I was close. I got out of active duty. I was most primarily stationed in South Carolina for like 4 years. My first year was Korea. In 2005, I got out. 2007, I got a nasty letter, FedEx letter from the government saying they want me back in.
Oh, inactive reserve status.
Yeah,
Yeah.
inactive reserve status. So went to Georgia, did some training and stuff like that. Then was doing the deployment training in Mississippi when my back went out, and 2 weeks before we were supposed to go. So we got what do you call this? So yeah, there you go. I didn't get to go to Iraq because my
Hey,
back.
brother. The fact that you went back after you got out and you completed, the fact that you served. A friend of mine who died recently of cancer from being chemically exposed to chemicals in Vietnam. He was a door gunner in Vietnam. He did 3 tours as a door gunner. Uh, and he was a little bit crazy in the head, but the fact is, he respected everybody who served in the military, whether they in combat or not. And his point is you still signed the contract, and even though you didn't go, you could have.
I was
You
thinking
could have been called up.
Agent Orange would be a hell of a lot cheaper if I was to buy that plot to get then like grubbing and just getting a D9. If I could just get an airdrop of Agent Orange on it, that would be a lot cheaper.
It would be.
Because D9s cost a fortune around here, so. And hand clearing would take forever. When I was watching Green Beret,
Oh, love that movie.
and I was just looking at okay, what am I going to build? I could just pay a couple $1,000 and some guys will build me a shack on concrete feet or something, a little shack, and that'll be good enough. And then I saw all the fixtures that didn't look too hard to build in Green Beret, but they were movie set fixtures. They weren't. I don't think they were built to last really. But but it was that style of building that they had there that looked pretty interesting as far as the structures. Uh, it was if you just carefully look through the craft production. I mean, it was pretty interesting how they set up all the A Camp 109 uh, 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 just everything in as far as what their buildings were, because it was pretty much there's like a tree with 3 limbs cut to the exact same height and a piece of wood and steps on it and of course there's the bamboo guard tower. Those are pretty cool, but without
They kind of
concrete.
stand out though.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they do, but they do if it depends if you're in a jungle or with a huge clearing, or if you're in a jungle with not so much cleared out. Depends how much you clear out of, because I'm looking at like a 3-acre plot, but and I'm not going to clear out all 3 acres, but so anyway, I found it real interesting, that movie, because I was just looking at it more technically from just what are all those structures like? How do they build those? And because a lot of them weren't, I wouldn't build some of those because they'd be rain, water, mud traps for, uh, you know, mosquitoes and rats and stuff. So some of those things I can't build that one, can't build that one. Well, those look interesting, and it was just it was really interesting to look at it from that perspective. So next time you guys watch that film, check out all the structures.
I'm gonna watch it when we get off. When we say goodnight to each other. I mean, I'm a huge John Wayne fan, so I of course owe that movie as well.
Yeah, well, obviously it's Memorial Day, so it's like all war movies all day, all weekend it's been. So I'm gonna watch the Turn Washington's episode, Washington Spies, because and I still have a flintlock on my list of flintlock pistol on my list. Better Sully probably at some point, and then
another one to watch would be The Patriot. Mel Gibson may be crazy, but he's a good actor.
Yeah, I've seen that a bunch of times, but Turn is new, so that's and it's more of a well, I mean, no, they're both historical period pieces, so.
Yeah, it's just yeah. So that's kind of what I was suggesting when you were talking about building a small shack on your property that you're gonna get or you're gonna go to or whatever you plan to go bug out to. That suggests building a hunting blind. You can turn your shack into a hunting blind. All you're doing is you're using common foliage around you and turning it camouflaging it.
Well, I mean, I have tarps. I have tarps that I can use that are camouflage and stuff like that. But they're not, professional hunting blinds. They're just tarps. And yeah, well, I mean, my idea of a shelter is not, well, it's not. I'd rather just have a shack, but I could build a hunting blind anywhere. Like I said, it's on hundreds of thousands of acres of cloud forest reserve, rainforest reserve. So.
Again, I'm not, again, I was just looking to camouflage a building so that way your building would be less noticeable.
Well, I could camouflage it.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I mean. Camouflage your shack. So it looks more like the surrounding environment rather than the surrounding environment and then there's a shack in the middle of it. So.
Well, but yeah, there's going to be a road there's a road, and then I'd have to cut a road to get there. I'm not just going to park on the street, I don't think, and then cut my way in with just my every time I go in, I cut my way in with the machete.
Well, there you go.
But because you have to, well, I suppose I could do that, but.
Well, I mean, if it becomes that kind of situation where you're going to have to bug out.
Well, driveways come in handy too, I think. But yeah, I could always camouflage it later.
Well, I was just saying you could just not really give a crap about the paint of the car and just drive up to where you're going, and then go back and cover your tracks. Might be a little easier for you.
Well, it's like on the very edge of a subdivision. That's kind of a it's on the very corner of a subdivision. So.
Oh, okay.
Are we talking about shit that's a fan again?
You don't like that topic?
No.
Nope. Don't have to. Yeah, I know. Okay, well, sorry.
It's okay. No, it's not that. I mean, no, I'm just saying. I mean, it's just like you expect silence from me. So.
Well, okay. Well, I know. Okay, we were on 40, and then we got back into 9, and I should let you guys go on about 40.
I'm just reading on that right now, Wayne. The stop online ammunition sale.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. She's tried a few bills, and she's kind of, she's taken about as seriously as a Taco Bell in Mexico. So I don't see it happening.
Here's the pop box. Here's the information on there. Here's a pop box. So you can see that not many people support this. 2% support and 98% approve.
Sorry, oppose. Sorry, 90%
Representative
oppose.
Watson, Bonnie Watson. Is she the? Is she Obama's girl that represents him on all? She's like the one that goes on all the talk shows.
I don't think so. She just, yeah, it's
Bonnie
just another
Watson.
Jersey fringe.
If you look at a lot of these states that are co-sponsoring this, there a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them are coming from the usual suspect states.
Conyers, I've heard of. Wait, this is House of
Especially New
Representatives.
Jersey and California, and New York here and there.
Oh, well, this is a House bill. It's not going to get through a Republican House.
Oh hell no, yeah.
Stop Online Ammunition Sales Act of 2015. Yeah, this is one of those acts that will never happen.
But it could cause a panic. Yeah.
No, I don't. With the Republican House, it's not even going to cause a panic. It's,
A lot of other laws have caused panic. M855 will cause the panic. This is not going to cause panic.
Yeah, I just don't like the precedent that keeps getting set with these because they just keep trying and they fail.
Of course.
And try again.
Well, it's better than it used to be. It's the whole sore loser thing. It's better than it used to be because it used to be they put things forward and it got passed. Now at least they're failing. So that's good to us as long as we don't.
Now.
Yeah, as long as we don't give up and get too compliant.
Yeah, so in case you're any external people, we're just looking at a government bill that House bill that Democrats sponsor.
That's what I fear, though. I'm pretty sure at some point the resolve is going to fail, and they're going to get that little extra nibble in.
Here's from a supporter here. We have to take as many steps as possible to reduce the gun violence in the U.S. and their ammo kill innocent people every day. Unless they are a member of the armed service, you are not part of a well-regulated militia. Fuck you.
See, and again, she's not reading the entire Second Amendment. The federal courts have already found that the Second Amendment is more than just a well-regulated militia. It's
yep,
an individual
the right
right.
of people to bear arms shall not be
infringed. And then the whole militia thing is brought up as it goes along. And the idea of the militia is that the people can organize ourselves into a well-organized militia to overthrow a tyrannical government, just like we did against Britain. And that was the whole policy, the whole point behind this. And it's people. I'm not saying that it's ever going to come to that. I think nowadays it would be better for us to just impeach people and get rid of them. And when they blatantly start saying, "Well, fuck you, we're not going to do that. We're not going to listen to you," then that's when the people will know it's time to do what we have to do.
Do you guys remember the story of the Battle of Athens, Tennessee?
Is that the one with the? Go ahead.
I think I saw. Was that in American Rifleman where the miners were striking or something?
No. Okay. But there's this corrupt group of politicians who keep running for offices in that in that district, that town, county. They're like a bunch of friends. The senator keeps when he steps down, will run for sheriff. Then the former sheriff will run for senate. They kind of cycle through trying to get their own policies together. And then one day, they keep in, and they were running a lot of corrupt practices, stuff to like extortion and stuff like that. A bunch of returning this was back in 46, 47. So a bunch of returning veterans came back and says, "Fuck this! We're not gonna take this anymore." So they decided, you know what, we're gonna run an election. Next election, we're gonna run our own candidates. We're gonna see who wins. Runs fairly. These idiots decide. The politicians decide to take. To raid the ballot boxes and take them to prevent the count, and so the veterans raided the National Guard armory and pretty much besieged I think it was a jail or something like that, but it's like their headquarters, and there was like a few hours of firefight. They finally made them surrender by dynamiting the door, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
And the best thing about it is those veterans, they clean their firearms before they put them back.
Yes, they clean their firearms before they put them back into the armory. But yeah, there was a movie about that too on the Hallmark Channel. So yeah, it's that's the example of what
What was
what
the name of the
can
movie?
happen.
What was the
Huh?
name of the movie?
Dang it!
What was the name of the movie?
I don't know. I forgot. Dang it. You're gonna have to look it up. You're gonna have to Google it. But let me see. Actually, yeah, let me Google it. But the that's the
I'm a
extreme.
movie guy. If it's historical, I'll watch it.
Well, the actual Tennessee like state webpage actually has it listed there.
Yeah, it's not something commonly taught in the school.
Oh yeah.
It's something you kind of got to dig up on your own. But yeah, I remember that.
So they punished everybody by having the highest beer tax per gallon.
Yeah, and that's their little, get you back because you overthrew us kind of thing. But it was just for that one. That was just for Athens, Tennessee. Though. That was, but the whole state suffered because of it. No, I don't know.
But yeah, that's it. Oh, it's called the An American Story.
The Un-American
No,
Story.
no, An American. AN space.
An Americans.
An American Story. Yeah.
An American Story. All right. I'll look it up on IMDb when I
Yeah.
have time and check it out and try and get my hands on it.
But that's the perfect example of what can happen if and that's local government. Well, it's gonna be hard for like and again, I'm not talking about shit expense scenarios. I'm talking about it's gonna be realistically, it's gonna be very hard for the government to pull something off. But local governments though can still happen. So nowadays though with fast communication, you can report some bullshit like your sheriff in your small town or county is being an asshole. So immediately the states will come down and freaking investigate them. But there's still times when
Not here.
Huh?
Here they'll be like, oh well, yeah, we know that. So what's your point?
Yeah, but if it comes down to it, yeah, that's when you have to take up arms like these people did. So, it can still happen.
I'm not planning on taking arms up against the government.
It's not you're not taking up arms, but once they like.
But
I mean, the thing is, what really pushed these people to the point to the breaking point was one of the deputies shot a guy trying to defend a ballot box, and so that's
What year was this? What year did that happen?
46.
1946.
Yeah.
Wow.
yeah, 46 or 47. So I'm gonna go with him. He's reading on it. So.
Yeah, nobody was charged. No, I don't. Yeah, none of the veterans were charged for doing that. So, yeah, I mean, they were found in the right for having to have done that.
All right.
That's actually it's kind of a cool story. It still gives you a hope
movie.
for America kind of thing.
Is anybody good in any actors I know in it?
I don't know. Maybe a few minor actors here and there, but no one major.
All right. Yeah.
It's Hallmark Channel. It's where failed TV actors come to nest.
Now there's good stuff on the Hallmark Channel sometimes. I mean, they have.
I don't know. I've
westerns.
seen Kevin Sorbo one too many times. It's like, yep, that's where he ended up at.
Well, I liked High Chaparral a lot. So.
And what else? What else? That or the Sci-Fi Channel. But you know what? You'll have more dignity making movies for Hallmark than you can for Sci-Fi.
Yeah.
Wait a second. I like the Sci-Fi Channel. I mean, some
I
of the
do
shows
too.
there were kind of iffy, but I like Firefly. I really like that TV show. That was actually pretty cool.
Okay.
But it only lasted one season.
I do too, but I do too. But when you're told you're gonna star in a movie called Sharknado,
I'm not gonna have a straight face around that movie. Okay.
Sharknado and Sharknado 2
Did you
were
guys get MeTV?
blockbusters for underground independent TV or movies.
You guys get
What was that?
MeTV, or do you guys get MeTV?
No,
METV?
no.
No, yeah, it was more of a Hawaiian thing. But they got all kinds of good old TV, all the good old TV shows, on there. And uh, obviously they have the old Hawaii Five-0, but they've also got, I don't know, just some stuff that I like to
Magnum
watch.
PI.
And then they got Chips. They've got Columbo. They've got Night Gallery. They've got Black Sheep Squadron. They've got all the old TV shows. And
That would be
Perry
like Nick
Mason.
at Night for us.
Perry Mason.
That would be like Nick at Night out here, or AMC American Movie Classics, or something like that. You guys got Magnum PI? That's the question, though. I mean, you're in Hawaii. You got to have Magnum.
I haven't seen that around here lately. I mean, I think
You know what's funny? You know what's funny though is he shot most of the time. He shot the Star Super B.
we had a 45, I think, but
No,
everything
he
that he
had the
was
Star
doing
Super
was
B.
illegal anyway. You're not allowed to carry yet. So, and he didn't have a permit. So,
Yeah, but no, when he had a gun, he had Star Super B.
and they had a cannon
Yeah.
too,
Oh yeah, the
and
cannon.
those are illegal. So, somebody tried to bring
Yeah,
my
but
cannon
was
in and
it
got busted.
what's his name? The big guy. He's kind of like Bosley for the Charlie's Angels. The caretaker of the estate. The British guy.
Higgins?
Can't remember. Higgins. Yeah. Wasn't Higgins kind of like like the British caretaker of the state for the super rich guy?
Yeah. Well, I mean, but that's John Hillerman, the actor. I think he's from Texas. He has a Texas accent, actually. He was in Clint Eastwood movie, High Plains Drifter.
Yeah. I actually just watched that one recently too. I'm a big Clint Eastwood fan as well.
All right, guys, I gotta go. I'll see you guys later. Take care.
Take it easy, good guy.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to keep going anymore, or you're gonna wrap it
Well,
up?
I mean, if you want to wrap it up, that's cool. I mean, if you want to hang out afterward and talk, we can still. If not, then talk to you later.
Wayne, you got anything else you want to say? Nope, he's gone. Let's see. Okay, I'll just share one more thing. Let's see. I got one more screen share that's not just on his history here. All right, so basically, this is one thing I was having a little argument with Yankee before all the name calling the other night, and it was he said, well, I told him you didn't even know that there's a war in Yemen until I told you, and then he said, well, you said the United States was going to get involved, and then they didn't. I was like, well, they sent in the Theodore Roosevelt. That's the carrier they sent in, and the Ayatollah, was going to send his navy to drop off just last week. They have a helicopter carrier and a few destroyers or frigates and subs, Kilo class Soviet subs, and they're going to drop off and resupply the Houthis in Yemen. And Saudi said, no, you're not going to do that, and they've only got a really small navy, and they declared a blockade, and so basically, we sent in a carrier task force there into the Gulf of Aden and to the Red Sea, and they can have all the stuff on the ships, but when you send in a carrier task force, it pretty much,
yeah, it's subs, cruisers, destroyers, there's everything.
And so America kind of rules the waves. So it's even though we only have 3 carrier task force that are actively forward deployed right now, because we're not in an active heavy duty engagement. We have more carriers in dry dock and that are ready, surge ready, but one carrier is enough to just intimidate the fuck out of any navy.
Yeah,
You know,
there's, I mean, since the Russian Navy is pretty much gone, other than the British Navy, even the British Navy is like, wow,
and,
that's only like one of their carrier groups. That's like almost our whole Navy.
and again, it's just so the Ayatollah could not get his ships from point A to point B, and B was just, I mean, from their base in the Persian Gulf to the Gulf of Aden, it's not very far, but they couldn't do it, you know, and the Saudis probably couldn't have stopped them, and so they actually diverted their ships to Djibouti to be inspected by the United Nations to make sure that whatever they drop off isn't going to be, you know, weapons or arms or anti-aircraft missiles or stuff. So and you know, I remember one reason I moved to Hawaii. One thing that entered my thinking was back when Clinton was president, he sent in the you know, the Seventh Fleet into the South China Sea. Well, because at the time China was doing all kinds of exercises, uh, and it was just looked just like an invasion of Taiwan that would look. And so they just sent in the seventh. He sent in the Seventh Fleet, and that's when some Chinese general threatened to nuke Los Angeles. You know, so
So you were
one,
like, yeah, I'm gonna go away.
yeah, it's us, and I hope they nuke the Valley because I really hate the Valley. You know, but San Fernando Valley, I hope they nuke it twice. And but you know, uh, it's two-thirds of the world is covered by the ocean, and the United States Navy runs the ocean, and we can go from point A to point B, and
Very quickly.
and now didn't always used to be that way,
Yeah.
but if you want to fight the U.S. Navy, then you aren't going to be able to go from point A to point B, and now at some point, I don't know when carriers will become obsolete due to area denial weapons. Not yet, but one
Well,
carrier can just really fuck up somebody's day if they want to. So
honestly, the carrier is a carrier group is like a huge mobile military base. It has everything at its function. It's got everything it needs, you know, and
and the
if
key
we
word,
wanted to, we don't have to have bases in anybody's land if we don't
and that
want to.
that's the whole thing. The key word is mobile, and what China is building in the Spratly Islands, their little base, that you know, we did a flyover of their base, and they were ordering the U.S. I don't know if anybody's seen the patrol video where they ordered, you know, the U.S. plane that was doing a flyover off, you know, and they were, you go, and you know, this is the Chinese Navy, you know, but they're basically dredging all the sand up, right, to build a base there with it's got and it wasn't there before, and it used to be 5 acres, and now two it's like 2,000 acres or something, you know, and it's just dredged up sand. But the thing is, it can't move. It's not like a carrier. It can't move. Everybody
Yeah,
knows where the oil storage is. Everybody knows where the runway is. Everybody knows where the early warning radar is. It's not going to move. So, I
and
mean,
it's because of that, it's a lot harder to defend. Whereas, you know, and then again, you know, another thing is the defense capabilities we have are phenomenal. I mean, if it gets past anything we can't shoot out of the air with other missiles, they got the family system, and the family system could literally knock down, like you fire 16 missiles at an aircraft carrier, and the family system could lock on to all 16 of those, cut up in a couple of bursts, and all those missiles are in the water, doing no good to nothing.
and so basically, China wants to, you know, there's some oil in the area, there's fishing in the area, and they're having disputes with the people that are opposing what China's doing there is Malaysia, Vietnam, Philippines, and all these other countries, and you know, and they're buying a navy, and you know, it's basically the U.S. is sending ships and airplanes doing flyovers because they're saying, oh, it's international waters, but you know, and whether you built a base there or not, you know, it's not actually yours, you know, not that we're going to land on it and, you know, prove it, but we're going to sail right by it and fly over it. And so again,
make life really hard on you.
it just seems that China, it's something that a general would do, to stick a base there and say, well, now that we have a base here, we control this whole area because it's right in the middle. Spratly Islands is right in the middle of, the South China Sea, and next to Philippines, Malaysia, and but it can't move around. It's not like a ship. It's like they're generals, and they haven't figured out that's not how the Navy works. And that's why I'm not afraid of a Chinese Navy or a Chinese aircraft carrier, because they've never. I mean, I don't know when the last time. I mean, maybe maybe back like in 1200 AD or something. They knew how to. They had some weird river navy that was very good, but it's just America's been doing Navy a lot longer than China.
Yeah, and we've obviously been doing it very successfully, and it's got us through a couple of world wars, and at first you learned a lot from World War II from the Japanese, and then but still, I mean, even the Japanese, they've always had. I mean, their Navy was very impressive. They still wanted to take over like the island chains, so they could have air bases and strategic points to be able to leapfrog equipment and personnel to different areas. And well, then of course we ended up wanting the same land, because then we were going to use that to launch bombing raids over mainland Japan too.
And so whoever won the naval battle got to pick the islands that they could put their bases on, because they could attack what they needed to and bypass everything else. And you have to control the Navy to do that. And so that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying the Air Force didn't do anything, but the naval victories came first, and then everything else came after. So
I think the Air Force, or the Army Air Corps, as it was called until well after World War II. Did most of its work in the European theater.
Yeah,
North Africa, Europe, and stuff like that.
And they had to sink 866 subs in the Atlantic to win that battle and get, so they could get all the fuel and bombs and everything else they needed to have an air campaign.
Yeah. So I mean, again, the Navy was needed. So, and actually, and I hate to be in defense of the Navy because I'm a Marine, but they are the only actual branch of the military that if you're on a boat, you're considered in a state of war. It's a much lighter level of alertness, but you are always at ready to go to war.
I imagine, but because ships at sea, it's different, but whenever they send in the carrier group, whoever is about ready to go to war and about making all these threats that if you do this, it's an active war. As soon as we send in a carrier, everybody just calms the fuck down.
Like, we're just saying, we think it's fair that we have this land. That's all. We don't need to go to violence over it.
No,
we'll
it's like
kill you.
Kill you.
Oh, you're here.
It's like
hi.
It's like Wyatt Earp just showed up with his all the Earps and Holiday Inn. Are you gonna draw on him? No. No, you aren't gonna start a gunfight with you. So basically, but that's on the water. As soon as you get on land, everything's different. So
we seem to be number one on the land too.
Well, we aren't everywhere. Let's just put it like that for now.
I mean, there are troops out there that have more extensive training. In fact, a lot. If you look at a lot of the different militaries out there, their training regimens are on paper, way stricter, way more intense than ours.
Well, we aren't everywhere.
But I mean, being a jarhead, we got to train a little bit with the Russians and the Aussies and things like that. And we got those guys. They're, they ain't no joke. They got some serious training, some ass-kicking training. But they just don't seem to have the it factor. And I think it's because they're not, and I hate to say it because this is where we get our stereotypical name of being arrogant. They're not Americans. They don't have the freedoms we have. I mean, they may have some of them, but they don't have all of them. And I think, you give somebody who's truly believes that they're fighting for freedom and what is right, and that people shouldn't be oppressed and all that, which is a majority of, I believe, Americans, because the way we're raised and the way we live. Um, we're gonna dig deeper and fight just a little harder. And then, of course, we have all the technology in the world too. So
Well, it's just that the world is a very complicated place, and it doesn't always fit into our dialogue, of right and wrong, black and white, Democrat or Republican, heads or tails. There's some parts of the world there's the you know it's well, our cultures are very different, and whoever's, you have to roll a 20-sided dice and a dice like from Dungeons and Dragons instead of
yeah,
flipping
I
a
was just
jack
gonna
horn.
say, you just made a 20-sided die reference. Yes, I'm not the only geek left in the world. I used to game a lot as a kid. I used to game. I think we talked about this actually.
Yeah, we were
Uh,
talking about Gary Gygax, and I wasn't saying anything, but I was looking up the book. All my books burned in the fire at Malibu, but I used to have the original Dungeons and Dragons and the Player's Handbook and the Dungeon Master's book, but all my stuff burned in the fire. At least I think it did. I have some stuff in storage, but
I didn't have any of the D&D stuff anymore. I had, like, when I got maybe a little bit older, we switched over to like playing Palladium series like Rifts, Robotech, things like that. And it's just mainly because we were all into Robotech. We all like me and my friends grew up watching Robotech, the cartoon, and then we read the books. But
we were into guns instead. So
yeah, and actually, all my friends are heavily into guns too. Yeah. um, they're not all on the same playing field as. Actually, I would say my friend Brad is the only why not guy. Him and his family are the why not people, but everybody else is all staunch Second Amendment advocates, very strong, forward thinking, pro Second Amendment type. Like my friend Jeremy, he's more like me. But Jeremy kind of gets a little weird and goes off into the whole conspiracy theory thing. I'd say Farland and Mike are more like me in that aspect because they were both military too. They were both in the army.
anyway, I was waiting to use this. I was waiting for some reason to use this. I told it says what?
It's perfect. It's true. It's like, you know, and, like I was saying, we kill you Americans. We hate you. They're here. They're not very nice, and we should sit and talk about this.
Well, remember what happened was, the whole thing started. It didn't start with Jimmy Carter, but basically, I was saying the other night that when I was a kid, I remember my dad used to have to get up at 5 in the morning to get in line, because in the fact we lived in Canoga Park or Woodland Hills, and to get gas, to line up to get gas,
that was if he even was. It was his day to be allowed to go buy gas.
And yeah, they had alternate days or whatever, and then because you had to drive into town to work every day, and the carriers didn't even ran out of gas, because what happened was the carriers ran out of gas, before they didn't have gas for the planes. What happened was Jimmy Carter was an idiot, and it wasn't just the thing with Israel and the Arabs boycotting it. It was Jimmy Carter came into office, and the administration before him had been paying off the mullahs from Iran they're paying whores and drugs and however many millions of dollars it cost every month to keep all the mullahs on the French Riviera happy, and that's where they were. That's where they're. And then when he said, "This is immoral. We can't do that. We're not going to spend United States taxpayer money on whores and cocaine and wine and champagne, so these guys can live. These mullahs, so they cut them off, and then they got on the plane, went to Iran, and overthrew the government, and then the oil embargo happened, and they had to they could barely get enough. They had problems getting fueling the aircraft carriers and the planes on the aircraft carriers, you know. And the ships, not all the ships were nuclear that were in the task force, you know, when even for the nuclear carriers. So, and it was just a disaster, and everybody said this guy's got to go, you know, and that was Jimmy Carter. And I mean, stuff was around, and then so they overthrew the Shah, but they've been saying death to America ever since. But you know, the situation with the oil thing has changed, and that's when I think Reagan started the strategic oil reserve after that. So we would never be in that situation where we didn't have jet fuel for the planes on the carriers, and not just for people to drive to work, you know. But I remember getting up at 5 a.m. and he'd stand in line or go in line, and the lines would stretch all the way around the block, you know. And so, I mean, things were messed up in Iran before Jimmy Carter, but he made everything worse because he took out the you know, when we replaced the Shah was replaced with, you know, death to America guys, you know, and the embassy hostages that ran forever. Then you know, then we had eventually they went to war with their neighbors because they're, you know, which was Saddam Hussein, and that was the Sunnis versus, it wasn't just Sunnis versus Shias, but it was Sunnis versus Shias, except it was Iraq versus Iran. So we were actually selling weapons to both sides, and they were a counterbalance against each other. And so nobody else had to worry about those two countries attacking or messing with anybody, because they were just they eventually signed a peace treaty with Saddam Hussein because, you know, too many people died. You know, it reached, you know, I mean, it was just terrible. So you know, and then we took out Saddam Hussein, and now they've been running amok ever since. So, and it's getting worse because now there is no counterbalance, and you know, now it's just every president has fucked it up somehow. George W. fucked up, but his father knew that if you took out Saddam Hussein, then that you took out the counterbalance to Iran. And George Bush went in, and he because he had an attitude, because he knew he could defeat them militarily, he just didn't know what to do after the first 2 weeks. He was clueless what to do after you win the war. You know, you know,
you can't just back up and go home. You know, he could, but it would have been pointless.
You broke it, you bought it, and so, you know, we were better staying out of there. You know, I mean, the world may be a better place without him, but Iraq is not a better place. Somebody just the other day in Iraq said, you know, I was born in Iraq, but I don't want to be buried. When I die, bury me someplace else. I don't want to be here. I don't want to, you know. He was born there, so that pretty much says it. So it's just, it's so screwed up, and now and it's not just Obama, you know, willing to. I mean, it was Hezbollah. Right now he's helping Hezbollah fight for Assad to keep them in power to fight ISIS, because there's nobody around to fight ISIS. So yeah, he's helping with drone overflights and giving drone overflight help to Hezbollah. Hezbollah was the guys who blew up all the Marines, right? In Lebanon.
Yeah,
and so those are the guys we're helping now. I mean, it's like the enemy. You don't have any good choices, any good people, and so sometimes the best choice is to let them fight it out. And you know, if the bad guys win, you know, if I was president, what I would do is I'd just land an armored division, and you know, or two in the south of Iraq, and just drive it through where ISIS is. Just shoot everything up, and just don't stop. Just keep going. Blast the crap out of everything. Go through Syria. Keep blasting the crap out of everything. And then don't go into Lebanon. You know, just go into Israel and get on the dock at Haifa, and then sail away. Don't stay there. Just kill everybody that with a black flag and a gun. You know.
We'll run through, lay waste to everything, and then leave.
Yeah, I
Doesn't I
mean,
mean that's not a bad idea. I think it was you that were saying that. Maybe when Iraq and Iran, instead of us going there trying to enforce our policies and our belief system, grab their leaders and say, okay, we freed you. Now, get the shit straight. And have their leaders run the people because they know how the people want to be run. They may be and want to complain about it, but they show their true colors.
well, the
When it
problem
came
I
down
think
to it, they're just like, we don't want to fight. You do it. That's pretty
Well,
much
I
what it
don't think
is.
it's just that they don't want to fight. I think some people do want to fight. It's just that I mean, you've got people in the parliament. They're fighting, still fighting each other. They're fighting it out in their parliament. They're not just fighting on the battlefield. The Sunnis and the Shiites are fighting in the parliament over who controls the weapons, who controls the ammo, who controls the water. We send the stuff to the central government, and then they fight it out in the parliament, and nothing gets done. It's like America. Nothing. You go into the parliament and they argue and they don't agree on anything and nothing gets done. It's like people are saying China has a 5-year plan so they can do things in their economy that we can't. So I don't know. The world's fucked up. It's always been fucked up. It's going to continue to be fucked up, and that's the way it is. So
Yeah,
with that, is
that's
there anything else
true.
you want to say before I end the broadcast?
I think we've covered just about everything tonight.
All right,
So,
man. I'll let you know what kind of 9 I get eventually, or if I have any more questions, because hey, there's a lot of stuff that I don't know, and that's a good thing about gun channels. Like, there's a lot of stuff people out there that know more about on gun channels that know a lot more about guns than me. I know the guns that I got, but there's a wealth of knowledge here. So check out gun channels. You might want to sign up and join it. It's free, gunchannels.com, and this is Hawaii Volcano Squad signing off on Memorial Day, and I'll have a peaceful end of your last few hours of your holiday. If you're on the Big Island, you still got a few hours to go. All right, guys. Aloha.
aloha.